pay attention to the chat. So
You were here last night?
I can tell you the night that I was talking about, there was no doxing or anything or any.
So the night we're talking about,
Solomon
I would say this.
doxing.
Can I?
I think there was a confusion on Tally's. I think there was a confusion on Tally's part of the conversation between Neek and Solomon, but outside of that, there was no doxing talk. So.
Well, no,
Tally said that
came yesterday when he was in the room that I was.
Yeah, Tally said that he threatened to dox her via chat, and it's like, hey,
never happened. Never happened.
So I think this is y'all conflating two things. First of all, I was in that room that Chaos is talking about. The reason why Tali muted Neek and King Solomon was because they were threatening each other, and that's like acts of violence, I guess, rule. She didn't say anything about doxing in that space. She muted them both because, and gave King a strike because they were threatening each other. It had nothing to do with doxing. So I don't know what you're talking about, Chaos. But also going back to me, and honestly, I don't really care like that. But I sincerely believe when I was in here, and that's why I had asked Nathan and Knowledge, what is y'all like rules as it pertains to doxing, if that's something that y'all allow. Because I do remember you saying to me, you were bragging about it. You were like, yeah, Crystal, because you don't know, I got ties to the dark side. And, I used to hang out with them, and, they on their time, so I can find out who you are.
Yeah, you did say that.
You did say that to me, and that's why.
And you said you have ties to the dark side, that I forgot the name of the person, that I know this person.
Right.
Wait, what did that knowledge? No.
You said I know whatever person's name was. I know person X, and this person can find out everything about you. Specifically.
You said that to me, and that's
No. What's the context?
I asked Nathan and
Knowledge. What's the context that I said that? What's the context?
when she just came to the room, you was like, hey, I know you knew and everything. You was trying to, I don't know what they call it, like break in or something. I don't know. Something like that. This is when she came to the room. When she was new to the room.
You said
what's the context? What is the context of the conversation?
I don't remember the argument, but you said specifically, don't think that you're safe behind the keyboard. I know people on the dark side. I know person X and person X.
I said don't think you're safe?
Yes. Don't think you're safe.
In what context?
I don't know. I don't remember the context. I don't remember the context. But I do remember that being said.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. What do you mean, like, is it in a joking context?
It wasn't joking. It wasn't. That's when I asked Nathan and Knowledge, well, what is y'all rules about doxing?
Yeah, she asked us, what's the policy with doxing? And we said we're completely against it. That's one of the things that we don't allow in this room. When it comes to doxing, the furthest we'll go is Galaxy. Galaxy, we allow him to put PTRs of other people.
And what did I say?
But not PTRs that go too far. For example, Galaxy put up a PTR of somebody's family.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Take it down, and then Galaxy took it down, and then that's as far as it went.
Yep, I remember that. That's exactly what I asked right afterwards. I said, well, you have someone like Galaxy who had posted someone's PTR, and y'all was like, yeah, y'all was giving me the rundown about Galaxy. But you did say that to me, King. I don't have to lie on you about that, and that's why I had asked Knowledge and Nathan.
Since this was a serious conversation, what did I say after that?
I was going to say, but in King's defense, I don't know the context.
Thank you. This is bullshit. This is
well, I
fucking
never
bullshit.
mentioned anything about doxing.
No, Crystal, you're being deceiving. I did not say I was gonna dox you. That's retarded. You're being deceiving. What? So then, what did I say after Knowledge said we don't do this block because I don't believe in doxing. That's a fact. So what did I say after that? I feel like you're taking the conversation. You're taking the conversation where the context was not about being serious, and you're trying to turn it into something like that.
What would make you say that about me?
Because this would make sense if we were all joking around. But now I feel like you're trying to take something that you were all joking around, not being serious, and you're trying to turn it serious. And fellas, this is why you got to be very careful around women, because they'll do this.
What is joking about? Making
being on the dark side, ma'am. Why would I bring up dark side? Why would I bring up dark side? Why would I bring up dark side?
You might think that's a joke, but not
Why would I
everybody's
bring up
playing.
Darkseid to you?
Not everybody's playing though.
Why would I bring up Darkseid to you?
Well, I don't know why you brought it up.
This is what I'm trying to say. So you don't want the context. The context was probably, the context was probably us just all joking around, having a good time.
You literally, whether you were joking or not, I wasn't playing with you.
This is what I mean.
And that's why I asked Nathan.
Again, this is exactly why, fellas, y'all gotta be very careful with modern women. You have to be careful with these women. They will turn something where it wasn't serious, it was joking, they'll turn it into something that it wasn't.
On the
This
dark
is
side.
bullshit. I never said I was gonna dox you. Stop it.
No,
this is nonsense. You love to center yourself. You love to center yourself. You love to center yourself and put yourself in the center of situation. Nobody said shit about doxing. You're not that. You're not that. You are not that important, man. You're not that important. You're not that important, Crystal. You're not that important.
I don't have
You're not that important. Nobody wants to dox you.
People didn't hear it.
Literally, you be in the chat. You be in the chat begging for attention all day, every fucking day. That's all you do. Nobody needs to dox you. You literally, all you do is talk about yourself every single fucking moment you get.
But you definitely
Nobody needs to dox you. You sit here and dox yourself.
Remembering that conversation, because that's exactly why I brought up, well, what is your rules around doxing and, that type of thing. So I appreciate y'all acknowledging that.
Fucking weirdo.
I mean, the reality is that King knew the term doxing before most of you guys used the internet. If you knew King, you knew that it would go so completely against his principles that it'd be like him showing up at a fucking atheist rally. Like, you can talk about whether in heat someone threatened to do something or not, but if you know King, like, fuck off with these accusations about doxing. It's stupid.
Oh my god. Okay, so great though. If you have heard something happen, and like, with all due respect to this situation, I just want to be as fair as I can, be right. If you have not heard it yourself, how can you say, because of my perceptions of this
He's an atheist.
they did not do this, they would never do this? How many people do you know that are truly consistent with their values and the way that they walk in their day-to-day lives? How many people have actually deeply reflected enough that they do not emotionally displace themselves onto every other situation and do not act as righteous as they claim to be? And I'm just saying this is a blanket thing across the board. If you did not hear it, I don't think you should say anything, with all due respect.
I had a quick question to Jeremy. Jeremy earlier said that he had no issue with what Trini did because it was towards a scammer. How many people agree with that statement? No, it's a real question. I'm curious. Like, is there some people you're okay with being dogs? Who do you think should be dogs and who shouldn't be dogs?
I don't think anyone should be doxed in this room. I hate the whole concept of doxing, bro. That's it.
I would agree.
I guess, and I'm not 100% on what I made the comment that I'm almost comfortable with it. But here's I'm trying to argue for it, right? Which is, if someone comes in here and claims, hey, I went to university, I fly private jets, I make millions and millions of dollars for my customers. If you guys, if you guys want to get in touch with me, want to invest with me, that's cool. And he makes all these false claims that some people in this room might actually fall for, right? That's fine. That's the internet. But if someone can come in and say, hey, this guy is full of shit. Here it is. Here's proof that he's full of shit, and he's just scamming people. So be wary, right? Like that would be the argument for saying, hey, in some cases, when it's to defend the people in this room from being scammed by some fucking piece of shit, then maybe it's okay to expose some things about that person, not do that person harm, but to protect the people in the room who might accidentally get scammed by.
Bello, he took it a step further. He said, I am reporting you on the FBI website right now that you're still scamming, even after being sued for scams, that you're still attempting to scam. So he went as far as reporting him to the FBI allegedly, and then his house got raided like 2 days after. I'm not saying those are correlated. I'm just saying that did happen.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you get these racist Karens that get caught on video, right? Who go off ranting, and then the internet goes and identifies the person, gets them fired, calls their job. Like, was that justified for the public to go and do that to that person because of that rant, or should they get a pass? Like, they shouldn't be doxxed, like you can go on a racist rant all you want, get a on video, but no, it's not cool if you dox that person.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think you should dox the Karen.
Of course, we agree with the knowledge.
Touche. Sorry, I was laughing hard on that one. Anybody else agree with Jeremy?
Jeremy, you say they should be doxxed?
Yeah, like I have no problem when those racist Karens get caught on video and then they suffer the repercussions for their actions because the internet goes out and tells their job. Of course I am. You think they shouldn't? You don't think that you should be held to be responsible for your actions?
Yeah, no, not for doing something. Not for what you call it. Not to get fired from your job and all this other stuff. That's evil.
Oh, I don't know. Listen, deal with the repercussions of your actions.
Think about this. Think about this. Think about the harm. Think about the harm, right? Who's inflicted the most harm? The person saying something racist or the person losing their job?
So let me put it in a different context. And you're gonna call me a racist for this, but let me put it in a different context that doesn't trigger you as much. Some dude comes and starts yelling and screaming at an old lady, right, for taking too much time pushing her cart to the cart thing, and he just berates her to the point where she cries, and then he walks away, and it was caught on video. Does that guy deserve, like, if the people go and, like, send that to his fucking job, and the job's like, hey, I don't want this piece of shit working for me, like, is that not justified? Is that not that guy getting...
No, it's not fucking justified. No! Are you serious?
But also, I'm sorry, like Jeremy, the situations you're bringing up are, like, far extreme versus just straight up what Nathan said was no one in this room should be doxxed, like, point blank period.
Yeah, there's different conversations, Crystal, 100%.
We can go into like the what ifs or whatever. But again, I think in this space, and this is why Melissa was like, well, is this the dark side or no? Because like from the people who like to come in here and frequent, we come in here for conversations and a little banter and trolling with a sprinkle of atheism here and there. But nobody wants to be in a space. If you want to be in that space, there is a space for it. But from my understanding, this is not that space. So that's why I'm like, okay, well, if this is the space, then I'll go somewhere else where they don't do weird shit like that. But I wanted to ask a quick question. What does it mean to have mob ties? If someone says, oh, I'm not necessarily in the mob, but I have mob ties, what does that mean? Does anybody know what mob ties mean?
That means they're affiliated. That's it.
Okay, so if someone says...
they didn't go through the
right, if someone says they are affiliated with the dark side, would that mean that, oh, we know what the dark side entails, and so that could directly or indirectly state that I get busy with whatever the dark side does?
It sounds like a threat, right?
It sounds like a threat. I thought so. Okay.
I'm just move accordingly now. So people show themselves who they are, just believe it. That's all. I remember the situation now. It was a joke. We were all joking around. This woman wants to turn it into something it wasn't. That's fine. Fair enough.
Okay. See, there you go. I know he ain't like that way. He said it was a joke. I believe him.
Okay.
It was a joke. I remember the situation now.
Me too. I'm gonna speak on King's behalf right quick. From what I gained from his character, I do believe him. If it says it was a joke, I believe it was a joke.
Yeah, I wasn't serious. It was just like oh, dark side. Dark side is don't that. Oh, let me just joke about it. It wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna go get you. Like, come on, man.
I understand that, and I accept what you're saying.
No, you tried to paint it like it was something it wasn't.
No, but
that's not right.
I'm new.
It's all good, Crystal. I see how you move. It's all good.
Nathan
it's all good. I see how you move. Fair enough.
Can attest to your character, but someone that's new to this space King Solomon, I don't know you that well.
Crystal, we were
So
just
if someone-
joking. You and me, we were
Okay,
joking back
but
and
just
forth.
because you
You just tried
were
to turn it
joking,
into something it wasn't.
just because you were joking with me, don't mean that I took the joke the way you took the joke. I wasn't joking. So that's why I asked the
Look,
question. But
I know how to move. I
accept
know how to
it.
move
I
with you.
accept
Fair
it.
enough.
Okay, fair. Cool.
Does anybody have any negative feedback on Melissa? I want to hear.
Okay, I got one negative feedback. So, on Wednesday, I gave Melissa the march, right? Because I think Melissa is like one of the, like she's good when it comes to talking. She's a white lady. No, that wasn't the issue. She apologized afterwards. That was the biggest issue right there. She had the mod badge. Instead of a moderator, she just was apologizing. I'm like, come on, man.
No. I didn't apologize for moving him down. I didn't apologize for that. I actually don't remember apologizing at all. I was just saying to him that I moved him down and said he could speak after and he just needed to go on mute. And then someone else started speaking, so I was saying to them they needed to let him talk because I moved him down and he had actually then waited his turn, so his turn to speak, and I wasn't just going to let him then go talk.
Park, Karen, on 4th?
What?
Hold on. I want to say something to Melissa right quick. I took that, when you did that, that was like, you showed that you have some sort of ableism. And because Bart is openly at ADHD, ADD, whatever you call those things, he's open with that. So he has some sort of disability. When you move him down, I was like, no, she's an ableist? I have no idea.
I don't care. I'm an equal opportunity employer.
Oh my god. Okay. I got a feedback for King. King.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
just gonna say this, man.
Yes, sir.
Be careful with some type of jokes because some of them people take it stretch, man.
No, you're right. You're right. So that was
And
my
you can't
fault.
get mad and say, "Hey, you're supposed to know I'm joking," when they don't.
No, you're right. You're right. I agree with you. So now I know, how to move. That was my fault. I can't blame. I fucked up. I should have known that these nappy-headed hoes are all the same. I mistaked. I thought one of them were good, and I was disappointed again. But it's all good, Nathan. You're right. It was my fault. I fucked up. I'm not gonna blame Crystal. I should not have joked in that way with a black woman. You're right. So it is what it is. I fucked up. Thank you.
I was going to have a chat with American Woman about her rhetoric and why it's not appropriate here, but I think I don't know.
I love her rhetoric, but go ahead.
Yeah, American's funny.
Hear it out.
She's funny. She's funny.
I love it, especially when people get like riled up on it. Oh man, I don't know.
Yeah, she's funny. Look, America's funny, man. She's funny. I like that trolling because, hey, I troll too, so it's like, I don't want her to change. Let her be her.
But that's my point. When she does it, I clearly know she's trolling.
No, she's hilarious.
Yes. But
I
some
fucking
people
love
are like, you can't say that. It's so messed up. That's really messed up. Come on, man. She does.
Well, she goes far, but we go far. So it's
She
like,
does.
I don't want her
Yeah.
to change. Let her do her.
So you want more people like yourself who are just
I don't think America's like me, though, Tally. I think,
gross.
well, trolling's a part of chilling.
Yeah, there's trolling and then there's
Yeah, that's not true. I don't troll. No.
Nathan.
So there's
Nathan, we said we were going to be honest today. We're going to be honest on Feedback Friday.
I was just saying, Tali, I want you to know your name was brought up earlier many a times.
Yes, it was.
They
Yes,
were
it was.
discussing what happened yesterday.
Yes. And I want you to know that I said this morning in my Feedback Friday that I don't think that it's fair to dogpile people. If you're going to talk to people about issues, you do it one at a time. No Diddy.
I also brought you up, Tali. So I don't want it to be like, any murkiness. But I brought you up, Tali.
That's cool. Whatever I said, I missed that shit.
No, she was defending you.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying
Oh,
generally.
Okay.
Whatever I said, I missed that shit.
That giggle be taking me out.
Yeah, I brought you up, Tally. Just so for the record, I brought you a 2. You know. So yeah.
I, however, did not bring you up, sorry, because you had something that happened.
I didn't bring you up. I made a comment with a no name.
Well,
Because I'm better than the rest of you.
Oh, for the official record, before she actually believes that, I did not bring you up.
I am.
I was gonna say you can't joke more.
Right, I'm going right. I can't joke. Right, I can't joke anymore. I did not bring you up. So.
That you can't distinguish between jokes that make you go ha ha and jokes that make you wonder if strange people on the internet are going to attempt to take your personal information and share it with malicious intent is precisely why I hate you. And I will continue to hate you. Nothing anybody can do about it. At all.
But I say this, if you're gonna hate, but don't abuse them all back. Go ahead, Nola.
Just so I could say something, go ahead.
Right quick. I want to say that in Crystal's defense, in her defense, I do recall the day. I do remember I was driving on a long travel, and I remember when King made the statement. I remember the context. I remember when King made the statement, and I did feel some type of way when he said it in a negative manner. Answer.
There's no positive.
Yeah, when he said that, I did feel negative about it. I was like, because I remember Dark Side specifically, like, oh damn, I gotta be careful around King. But yeah, so in her defense,
go to the dark side and ask
did you say anything?
Hold on. In her defense, I do get where she's coming from, but I also know King, so I'm like, nah, it's good.
Yeah, because you can go to the dark side and ask them about the dox anybody.
Solomon can do performative outrage, and he can be really mad and angry, and it all be a joke to him.
Thank you. Like, y'all know this. That's what I'm like, come on,
The issue with King, though, I'm gonna give it up. The issue with King is he's very monotone. When I say monotone, he has one level of speaking, and he uses it every
What a lie.
Whether he's joking, he uses the same tone.
Except when he says the word Jezebel. Except for when he says the word Jezebel. He says that with a lot of gusto. I'm just
He has the same tone, so it's kind of hard to distinguish what is a joke and what is not.
That's true. That's true.
Because of that tone.
That's true. It's true.
So,
but I remember the situation.
As I was attempting to say, you know how after one of those lone wolves do what lone wolves do, how they interview the neighbors and they're all like, yeah, he's a great guy. I never saw it coming. Well, that's y'all right now.
So Tally thinks that King Solomon is a credible threat. And that we're defending him. And I see that. I see that she believes that, and I don't see it. I think he doesn't like many women, and I think that's gonna hurt him if he wants to be a father, because he's gonna have to trust one woman to at least to bear his children, and he's waiting a long time to do it. But I also think there's fear there, and there's like all kinds of stuff that I don't want to psychoanalyze. And I think Tally went too far yesterday, and I think Florida went way yesterday. Way too far.
Monica, can I ask you?
No, I don't want to talk to you, Concrete. I don't want to hear you. I don't want to see you. I don't want anything to do with you right now. So shut the hell up.
Okay, Monica, I'll go after you.
I think Tally fell for Tommy's troll. Tommy is brilliant. She's vicious. She's indefatigable, and relentless. She's one of the best trolls on Clubhouse. I aspire to be Tommy's little sister.
For what?
Because what she does is she puts people in positions that stress them out, and you can see how resilient.
You can see how resilient they are to adversity and how they handle struggle. And you don't have to like it, you don't have to appreciate it, but you fell for the troll yesterday, Tally, and you over-moderated Tommy. You over-moderated Tommy not once, not twice, but 3 times. And
isn't a fucking problem.
And you rose to the bait. You took the bait, Tally. You swallowed it hook, line, and sinker, and it devalues your value. It devalues your value, and I hate that for you because I appreciate you. I value you. You're one of the best content creators in White House and chillism, and I'm sad for it.
Yes.
And I can like people that you hate and like you too. That's not cognitive dissonance. That's just life.
Yeah.
And I like King Solomon, but I think Florida. When we moderate other moderators in front of people, we're embarrassing the brand. We're telling people that our moderators are not respected, are not valued, are not appreciated. We're making a huge mistake with that. And that, I think, was worse than Tally over moderating a stage guest. It's not good to over moderate a stage guest.
Yes.
That hurts us too. And we don't moderate other moderators in front of people, just like Stilgar made the point yesterday.
Yes.
Now I'll let Concrete have the mic. And I know Tally will have some words for me too.
Yeah, after Concrete, we need knowledge of names in the trial.
Thank you, Monica. I appreciate it.
Why does Concrete get to be part of this?
Concrete
doesn't have feedback. He just want to just talk with everyone else.
I was a witness to everything. So please, and this is a free space, a free speech space, except you can't call. Exactly. You can't call women bitches. You can't talk about the kids, and you can't talk about the spouses.
Free-ish.
So, where we stand is that King Solomon is being accused of being a woman hater. Simultaneously, we have women coming and singing this man's praises to the point.
Let me just share.
We have women singing this man's praises to the point where we have women singing his praises to the point where he's known for it. We know that the women are gonna come through and they're gonna gush all over King Solomon. You gotta just accept it, Tommy. Everybody, sorry. Anyway, you got a contradiction there, Monica.
No, not really.
Hating women and being loved by women, I take that to be something that I don't commonly see. But if you tell me it's true, I might just have to believe you. Even though I look at my lying eyes and I see women coming in here every day gushing and saying all the wonderful things about King Solomon, okay. You tell me he hates women, okay. They just didn't figure it out yet, I guess. Now, to another point, excuse me, ma'am. To another point, Monica, there was no trolling on behalf of Tommy. It was a typical, hey, what's up, King? How you doing, boo? King said, hey, what's up, girl? And then Tally made a comment, a side comment, an observation, some might say. Look at the type of women King Solomon brings in here. Or look at the type of people. King Solomon brings in here.
Look at the caliber of people.
There it is. That's the exact quote. I gave a summary, but that's the exact one right there. Caliber was the word. Now, is that her being trolled? Is she being trolled in that moment? Was she being noise trolled? No, she was just in the presence of some greatness, and she didn't like it. I understand how that feels sometimes. Whenever you're in the presence of greatness, sometimes you might feel a little inadequate. Sometimes you feel that well, it's true. If you're in the presence of a superior
specimen of a human being, you might say, damn, my nose is big. Like a bell pepper. Or my lips are big.
Only Caucasian black things like that, of which
My
I
lips
know.
are big. But guess what? You gotta fight those demons. Those inner demons that say that person is better than me. Fight
I
it.
think this is every
Don't let it
time
win.
Concrete hears something about Trump. That's how he can.
Alright,
Fight it. Don't let it win. I'm almost done. I'm almost done. Hide it. Don't let it take over your soul. Say, no, I'm better. I got my own qualities. So what? She's pretty, taller, smarter, faster, richer, blessed. I still got my own qualities. I'm good. I'm beautiful in my own way. That's what you got to say to yourself whenever you feel like there's a specimen that's making you feel bad. Say, I'm good. I'm better. Okay, thank you. Have a nice.
So,
I was gonna say,
Concrete spotting us out.
hold on. I was gonna say right quick. I was next. What did you say?
only according to Florida. And
No, I said, I was after
According to
Monica.
knowledge, he called it
And then
himself
Concrete
first.
said, I'm after Monica. You know what? That's fine.
Only according to Florida. Yeah, like knowledge bends down to myth.
You've been down to all the black men.
Anyways.
Are you one of those
I was
girls from that
going to say, oh man, come on, I'm not looking. I love you, dog. Anyway, I was gonna say that for the sake of the content, I'm gonna yield my time to Monica.
No. Legit. We do need to hear knowledge of Nathan's, I think, opinions on what Monica was saying.
No, I want to hear Monica respond to Concrete.
Oh, she's busy.
Okay. So, alright, I had something I was going to say earlier. I had a statement about King, but it's no longer relevant because that comedy skit just happened. So, I'm gonna change my statement. It's gonna be about Concrete now. So, I got
What?
Concrete, yes. So, someone asked earlier why, something about modding Concrete. And I brought up that Concrete wasn't on Jumad. So, in response to that earlier statement, Concrete is one of the worst mods I've met in my life. So, I got mad love for him, but as a moderator, him and Bart, they would kick people from the room relentlessly. He would be like, answer the question, that's not answer the question, goodbye. He would kick people left and right, all day, every day. So when we were doing this, we were trying to develop a free-ish speech space, and Concrete not only was against free-ish speech, he was against not answering questions the way that he wanted them to answer. If you would answer a question in any other way than the way he wanted to answer, kicked. So we had rooms that were like 100+ people when we had our gentlemen's
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yes, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. When we had that space going, we had spaces popping with hundreds of people. And Concrete specifically, oh man, he was kicking people left to right. And he would do the bye-bye every single time.
Put me in the queue so I could deal with those non-truths.
I
I just
also
would like to
was
say
a
that.
victim of Concrete being kicked to the goo in other spaces. So I can attest to Concrete's dictatorship, Stalin type of mannerisms with the mob back.
Yeah, I just want to say this. Simply this. Listen, man. Yesterday, I don't want to relive that. Yesterday was painful, and I had to listen and witness it, and just sit there and think like, come on, man, we're better than this. This is white belts are us, but we're not acting like white belts are us. We're acting like all the other rooms. We're acting like the room, no disrespect, but God talk. They have this one mod, he is the worst. And I don't want anyone painted in that picture, right? So listen, as mods, we have rules. We have to regulate the rules. Whatever feelings we have, take off the mod badge and be that type of person without the mod badge. But just know when you wear the mob vest, you represent white belt and rust. And you're not just getting your feelings out. You're saying that we all feel this way. That's sometimes Florida, that's pork, that's weed, that's knowledge, that's ladies, that's Florida, that's college, all of it.
Don't put me in there.
No, I definitely got to put you in there. So.
I moved down and come back up without a badge.
Yeah, when you do that too, knowledge, just so you know, you make us look bad too. One team, one fight. Let's go.
Last night. What are you talking about?
I want to let the room know that.
Oh yeah, knowledge. Last night too.
I want to let the room know I'm the same man without the mind.
That's true. That's true.
Same man. I take it off. I'm the same man.
That's true.
No, I'm talking about with the big mic.
I moved down yesterday when they moved down Galaxy. I'm consistent. When Florida did it, I moved down. When Nathan did it, I moved down.
I did not move Galaxy down unwarranted. I told him, hey, Galaxy, you have a rule, don't talk about women. Don't talk about people's kids. He said, so what? He kept on talking about people's kids. I said, Galaxy, stop talking about people's kids. I warned him. I did the rules. I didn't mob abuse them.
Knowledge is on the phone now. But in Knowledge's defense, the reason why he moved down is because him and Shasha was both saying really choice things that were technically against the rules.
What did she say that was against the rules?
She said that you are gay and diseased with HIV, something to the line of gay
That's
disease with No. She said, and you'll never have any fucking kids and something else, and then she talked about his family.
Family isn't against the rules.
Okay, but you ain't gotta yell at me. I'm just telling you why he moved down.
My fault. I ain't made you say that. I'm just passionate, lady. I'm not yelling.
It's all good. I guess I'll let him tell you why he moved down.
I have 5 minutes to talk before
It's my turn. Yeah, it's my turn.
Knowledge had asked me.
Yeah, it's my turn.
So
it's my turn. What you do when it's somebody's turn is you say, hey, Concrete, do you mind if I go next when it's somebody's turn? That's what you do, right? You don't try to force your way. You just ask politely like a normal human being. Yeah. So you said, hey, Concrete, do you mind if I go? And then I say, yeah, sure, no problem. Like other normal human beings. Maybe you don't act like you're entitled, right?
May I wrap up?
Monica?
May I please wrap up, please?
Do you think maybe that's the way to go, Monica?
May I please wrap up, guys? It's only one person talking. Now, thank you, Concrete.
So is it my turn or not?
I wasn't finished.
Oh, yeah.
Golly. Anyways, the last thing I wanted to say this, just to touch on what Knowledge was saying. Listen, we tried. Listen, I don't get Concrete. Concrete is the nicest and then the worst person, man. He wants to be nice and he wants to be unlike. I don't get it, man. Listen, when we started up, man, it was 4 gentlemen, bro. It was me, Concrete, Knowledge, Bart. 5 of us. Me, Concrete, Knowledge, Bart, and Trinity, bro. All of us, bro. We came together. We had this room, bro. The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Right? Concrete was the head. And every time, bro, I would curate rooms, build it up. 300 people plus. Concrete would come in during this time. And he would, I'm talking about, it got so bad. 30 minutes. Literally 30 minutes. The room was cleared. Everyone left the room. And guess what Concrete did? He ended up leaving. I'm like, God, leave. Then you had people telling me, yo, you invite me to your rooms just to get abused? I said, listen, man, it's the owner of the room, man. It's the owner of the house. But why you invite me to this room just to get abused, So that's what Concrete wants to do, man. Concrete is an abusive interlocutor. He wants to abuse you, and he has, I don't know, maybe he pinches his nipple when he does that. I think that's weird. I don't think that's normal. And I think that you shouldn't do that to everyone, bro.
Okay. What was Knowledge's point?
Yeah, so it's my turn? Yeah.
I'll get a fucking turn.
Thank you.
Is that what
So they ran this play. One second.
Apparently, y'all don't fucking know me.
Get in the queue. Ask yourself to get in the queue. Just say you want to get in the queue. Just say you want to get in the queue. Remember when lady said don't mod abuse? You remember when lady said don't mod abuse? All mods should get in the queue like a normal human being.
I was in the queue, young bitch.
I'm not your mom, bro. Don't talk to me like that. I don't talk to you like that.
Fuck your mother for
Anyway, I'm not your mom. Your mom raised you the way to be like this, so I'm not her. Anyway, don't take it out on me. Don't take it out on me. Anyway, so is it my turn or her turn? Anyway, so the whole point, I'ma just do this real quick, right? So I have witnesses to my moderating. I have witnesses to the conversations we used to hold, and I used to regularly get complimented on my moderation and how I forwarded the conversation, right? Regularly. And so what actually happened with these dudes is Nate fell in love with Cora. I told the story before, I'll tell it again, I have no problem. Nate fell in love with Cora. We all thought she was cool. We all thought she was cool.
That fucking pisses me off.
We all thought she was.
I was being spoken.
You gotta control yourself.
Fucking people.
You gotta control yourself.
This is therapy. So that you can.
Yeah, that's crazy. You gotta control yourself. You gotta control yourself. Anyway, so they absolutely have way more tolerance than me, right? They absolutely have way more. They absolutely have way more.
That's the fucking problem.
Log out, dummy. Log out, dummy. Log out, dummy. Log out. You fucking dummy. Anyway, like I was saying, log out. Hit that leave quietly button, dummy. Anyway, like I was saying, they obviously have way more tolerance than I do, right?
All fucking day, because I got mine.
Oh, okay. So she's not really tormented. She just enjoys it, like you said, right, King? Because if she was tormented, she'd hit that leave quietly button. She'd go find another room. She'd hit the hallways. She'd find another room where it's not this crazy, right? But she stays and she wants more. And they feed into it. They feed into the psychosis. You know who else used to do this? Cora, Royvis, Boris. They all have this thing where they like to fucking throw tantrums. But me, if I was a mod, do you think I would just sit here and listen to it? No. Why?
Alright, now listen, this isn't going anywhere. This isn't going anywhere, man. Listen, if we're gonna do this, let's do this, man. Everyone got 60 seconds to say their piece, man. 60 seconds, we move on.
You see how he's making it two people's problem? You see how he's making it?
Yeah, I'm making it two people.
Yeah, that's weird. You're weird, bro. Just let me finish.
Okay, I'm not arguing.
Let me just finish. Why you cutting me off? Why the fuck you cutting me off for? The fuck? Sensitive ass. Anyway.
There you go. Shut up. Shut your damn fat ass up, nigga. Anyways, like I was trying to fucking say, bro. 60 fucking seconds. 60 fucking seconds. Alright.
Yeah, I'm a bad mod, sensitive ass nigga. Anyway, this nigga lost his fucking mind for a fucking weirdo on the internet. Lost his fucking mind. You are fucking weird, bro. Sorry. And you can't see it, but I'll tell you. Every time you bring that stupid shit up, I'll tell you how fucking weird you are. Losing your mind over that fucking weirdo lady. And where is she now? Where's Boris now that you lost your fucking mind for? And just like Tally, losing your mind for Monica. You're weird, bro. You lost your mind. What the fuck is wrong with you, bro? Get this shit together, man. This is not real life. This is the internet. These are people with personas. And you fall in love overnight. You are a tender dick weirdo for some fucking strangers. And you want to take that shit out on me. Get the fuck out of here. Anyway, like I was saying, this nigga fell in love with Cora. And I saw through the bullshit, just like I see through the bullshit with Monica. See through the bullshit with Tally. I would never let them fucking manipulate my fucking space or room or mind to like slide on the homies or fighting. But this nigga loves that shit.
That's time.
And so,
yeah, that's time. Go ahead, Tally. Go ahead.
And then I'm after.
I was simply saying that I am very against threats of danger, threats of violence, all that shit. And before I bend the knee to dumb, violent niggers, you will literally have to incapacitate me. It's never gonna happen. I'm not one to bend who I am to the nature of an animal. Okay? I don't have to be mine. I don't even want to be fucking modded. I don't want shit to do with these niggas. Like, I would give up all the fucking hundreds of people I like just to not tolerate the bullshit from that one dumb nigga. I don't know, how you haven't observed this about me, and that I have to say it out of my mouth says that maybe you haven't been looking, okay? And my apologies for not making it clear before. The answer from me is no and hell no. I don't have to mod. I don't have to be here. When I'm not here, don't ping me. I don't want anything to do with them, okay? If you want a dumb nigger space, have it. I don't want to be involved.
All right, go ahead, Monica. Wait, did she say she was retired?
So, I value Callie. I think she's an asset to the room. I think there's people who bring more value than others here. I think there are trolls in the chat that don't get chastised, and people have to suffer their slings and arrows daily, and we have to ignore them because that's the rules of chillism white belts. And going back to concrete, there's a reason why you're not a moderator in here. There's a reason why I'm not a daily moderator in here. And if you don't own your fucking shit, Concrete, as funny as you are, as entertaining as you are, I will take Tally all day, all damn day over your performative clown ass. Thank you. Knowledge, I don't know your question. I didn't hear it. I can't answer it. I was in the queue 10 minutes ago, but obviously I had to wait, and I'm out of time.
I know, it's anything happened to me. I get you.
May I ask something, just going back to feedback Fridays, and I don't know if y'all already tried to do this. Yeah, I don't know if y'all tried to do this already and it failed, or people just didn't want to actively participate. But have you all ever proposed a space in the private where a unbiased mod would be in that space with the parties involved to kind of hash out whatever issues that they have with each other?
What we've tried, yeah.
Okay, I was about to say, and just so that it doesn't take away from the value of the room, and so that it doesn't, you know what I'm saying? So it's a separate thing, and then you can come back to the normal conversation. I am curious to know when it was implemented, how did it go, and why was it unsuccessful?
It was suggested, but not everybody wants to contribute to that. You know, I think that it's a great idea, but not everybody is always going to be on the same page with that kind of stuff.
So, how was it enforced? Meaning, and I'm just using this as an example, not saying that y'all have to do this, but just how Nathan gave Concrete and Tally 60 seconds to air out their grievances before moving on. I think that should be one of the outcomes. Okay, if you're not going to go into this private with an unbiased, unmessy mediator, or take a mod to go in there and mediate the situation, then you got 60 seconds to air it out, and then after that 60 seconds is dead.
Well, that's because you guys know they don't want to do this.
Crystal, we do that all the time. We do that all the time. We do we even one time, sometimes when there's a lot of beef in the air, we give them 3 minutes. We say, yo, you 3 minutes, air out everything, let it out. And the other person 3 minutes, air it all out. After these 3 minute interactions each, total 6 minutes, then that's it. That's the end of it. We do it all the time. If there's actual beef, people go on for weeks or whatever, yeah, we let them air it out for 3 minutes apiece.
Okay, I didn't know. I will say no shade. I feel like y'all are a little inconsistent with it, because I haven't seen it as consistent. But just because it's Feedback Fridays, I just wanted to add that.
100. I agree with you.
You new as fuck. So
I am new. I'm not even 90. I'm not even 90 days in here.
What's up?
She kissing ass like a fucking Olympic champion. Is she not? She got the fucking gold medal.
Do her best to stand out.
Wait, do I
We'll see what.
helping him with that because he said when Daniel asked him, "What do you think happened on 7th of October?" And then he said, "Well, I think that I don't remember what was his answer, but basically he went to say Israel was at fault and it was provoked, by Israel. And because of the security breaches."
And Israel allowed it to happen for longer, like they didn't respond on purpose.
Wait, provoke is I want to rape you. I want to rape you. I want to sexually assault you right now.
Whoa.
I want to bust my nut in your face. Oh.
Alright, so I'm gonna block him first. And now, remove. Okay, gone. You see, very, very, very deep people that come into these,
So,
amazing.
was Sam, I'm gonna have to take a break in a minute for like 10 minutes. Was Sam saying that it was provoked? Because that's one level of analysis. Or was he saying that Israel allowed it to happen because they wanted this war?
Yeah, that basically was implying that Israel allowed it to happen.
Okay, so
And
let's analyze that for just 1 minute. The question here is a really good question. How did a security breach happen? Because it was a major security breach.
And we
that's a
said
good
that.
question. That's a good question. That's a good clear question.
I agree.
Now, let's pretend that the official narrative coming out of the government, either the U.S. government or the Israeli government, was Israel allowed it to happen. So I'm going to be the first one asking a whole bunch of more questions. I get how, who gave the order? Who is embedded in the military that can give the order and that no one's talking about it? I mean, you know how many generals and people would have like this stuff, and what do you mean, why won't we stand there? You know, like the observation people in that room were told just like let yourself get killed. Like, the people at the Nova Festival have connections to people in the army. You think the relatives didn't say like I'm getting my kid out of there? Like, there's way too many questions that don't fit. So the point is, you're asking a really good question, giving a really bad answer, and your answer gives all the same type of questions that you would be asking if that would be official narrative. So you just don't have official narrative.
Even with the Nova Festival, it was like, oh, they moved the location to make sure that people got killed last minute. Like that was a part of the plan as well. Like, it was crazy.
Again, if that's part of the plan, there has to be a major group of people that were part of it. Like, who was authorized to give that like, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't fit. So we're left with a question: how did the security breach happen? That we have to analyze. But your answer is worse than your question. Some does this all the time.
And you're right. Like, it wouldn't have been a problem if he had posted like that, and like Daniel is a reasonable guy. And he was really, and actually he said, okay, I agree. There needs to be some investigation. There is going to be an investigation once the conflict is over. But it's really absurd to say that we are at fault and that we created this because, that we killed our own people, right? And so then they started, some just like lost his shit, and started speaking over everyone. And then I don't know if it was me or it was someone else, but the whole Trump thing was brought up. And I asked him, like, okay, so it's like saying Trump got shot, there was an actual guy, a bad guy that wants to shoot him, and then saying it was the Secret Service trying to kill Trump. It's like, okay, there was a failure in the system, there was a breach, but it was not the Secret Service trying to kill Trump because it just doesn't make any sense as what you're saying. Then you start putting the pieces together and it just doesn't make any sense. But that was how it was, the whole thing triggered. And he was basically blaming Netanyahu and Israel himself, and that they were benefiting from all of this happening and all of that.
He's going to go out the
I just wanted to say,
Canal or the Levantine natural gas play. None of the stories actually make sense either, but that's the place that sounds good.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say I'm sorry for like starting all that shit, but Sam's been posting shit like that for like months, and I really just wanted someone who was as knowledgeable as like Daniel, for example, to like
debate him about it. And yeah, anyways, I didn't mean to start drama or shit with you or anything. So I apologize for that last.
No, it's okay. Daniel said that you shared with him the link and then he sent it to me, and I started looking at the posts, and I had no idea, and I was disgusted as well. Of course, it was uncomfortable simply because I don't know, like I was like earlier, like, oh yeah, well, when Son came in the room, I wasn't thinking that he would come, but since he came, I was like, oh well, meet Daniel, this is Son, this is the guy that I would do the vaccine rooms with like a year ago, and we would be like every day doing a COVID room, And then he started talking about his book, so I had no clue that it was gonna go that way, but yeah. Listen, it's fine. Like, I don't mind. Like, he is the owner of his own, of his own doings and his opinions,
No, of course. Yeah, no, I just, I know that Sarah had been arguing with him for months and months about this stuff and saying, like, this is so irresponsible what you're doing.
Like, you and Sarah
crazy brain fried. Yeah, no, but it's just like, talked to him last night and sort of dispel what he thought, because he's been saying some crazy shit since October 7th, so.
Yeah, and then yesterday, Daniel was pointing me to the posts, and yeah, I saw them, and I think it's definitely not a good look.
What are we? I'm sorry, I was on the phone. So, are you guys still talking about Psalm?
Yeah.
Are you saying like is he posting a lot of anti-Semitic stuff on?
But like hardcore.
Yeah. I think I heard him say some stuff. I just tune out at this point. Like, I leave a lot of rooms when I hear it going that direction. I just can't. There's no point. They're so convinced. It's just a foregone conclusion. I don't even bother.
Yeah. And I always say, because, I discovered the world of conspiracy theories when I came to Clubhouse, and I was actually fascinated. Like, I like conspiracy theories, I'm like, oh my God, like, this is, like, so cool. Like, it's like you will start getting into rabbit holes and whatever. But when you enter that world and you need to keep one foot on the ground, and I have seen at least, like, very closely and firsthand, like 6-8 people in Clubhouse, meeting them completely normal, and a few months later or a year later, after they uncontrollably have gone into a lot of information that they just decided to believe it's true, they're completely gone, gone. That to the point that when I speak to them, I cannot have a one-on-one conversation with them anymore. It's impossible, not because I get triggered, but because I cannot follow, like, it's so detached from reality that it's just, they're gone completely.
Yeah, 100%. I think you can actually fry your brain, like, going down these conspiracy theory rabbit holes, and like come to these crazy conclusions, and it's just like the way the human brain works. But like, it's dangerous for your own mind to like try to stop being objective and just following these rabbit holes all the way down. Because I love conspiracy theories too. I'm super into that stuff. But I think you have to, like, again, like you said verbatim, you have to put your foot down and ground yourself to reality at the same time, and like pick out what is fake and what's not. And yeah, no, I just think that some people have literally fried their brains doing this shit.
And you can start to see conspiracies everywhere.
Ooh, Soul Snatchers here, by the way. What's up?
Like everything becomes your go-to becomes, must be a conspiracy. There's a conspiracy here to find, and I'm gonna find it. You know, you're just seeking it out. Like Jazzy is one of my friends on here. I love Jazzy, but this is one topic where when she starts talking about it, I just have to leave because she's like screamed at me before, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm never gonna try to talk about that again with her. Like,
Oh God, not Jazzy. Jazzy's a fucking psycho. Sorry.
well, I like her. I mean, we've had our ups and downs, but I do. She's one of my buddies. But that is one topic she is like down the rabbit hole on.
Yeah, she's full blown crazy. What Issa, what was the name of Salem's club back at the clubs? Was it Preservation of the Human Race, or was it?
No, that was Augustus, but he would do rooms there, but and let them make awareness great again, and we did some of that here, yeah.
It's before that. So some, like, when I really realized that I can't agree with him, because I wanted to join conservative rooms, and I don't mind. I actually enjoy conspiracy theories too. But I said something like the government's in it for the people doing it are not working together. They're all in it for their own interests. It might have been about COVID. It was like this extreme lockdown is not because they're on secret Zoom call telling each other we're going to do this. They're all trying to politically jockey for position, and that's like it was like a much more benign theory. And he got super mad. He's like, "Are you so naive?" You know, I was like, "Show me any evidence of collusion." Like, I agree with you that what's going on is illogical. So it's not from collusion. It's from a bunch of it became set up as politically feasible to take this position, and he couldn't hear it. I was like, okay, so then you're just gonna believe anything because you're not open to a rational conspiracy theory. You just want to believe that there's like a cabal controlling you. That's crazy. And I couldn't deal with him anymore. I didn't deal with him, to be honest.
One of the people, I mean, like, they got so far that, I mean, like, I stayed, you know, in the conversation so I meet one person, right? His name, he was a Venezuelan, doesn't matter his name. Met him here. We started talking. We connected because he was from Venezuela, from Guatemala. He was one of the first people. And he was like a very spiritual guy. And to me, it was like, oh my God, this is like a thing that I have never really kind of like gone into. And, you know, I started exploring like his ideas and stuff. I bought a couple of books that were like quantum physics and all of this kind of like cool stuff, you know, spiritual. At some point, I mean, through the months, it just started becoming weirder and weirder. And then until when I completely cut the relationship, he recommended me a book, and I love buying books. He recommended me a book, and I just ordered it without asking questions, you know. I received the book, and it is about the intergalactic, how do you say, the intergalactic committee or something like that, where through visions and through experiences out of the body, some people have seen certain persons or certain characters, you know, and they draw them in this book. And this book is like a guide to all these individuals that are ruling the committee of the intergalactic government or whatever. And I'm like, what the fuck do I have in my hands, you know? It was like a book, like crazy book. And he left to live in the mountains with another girl, also from Clubhouse, that completely lost her mind just like that, because they believe that they have out of these world powers, and they are communicating with other entities and stuff like this. So I couldn't hold a conversation anymore with this person. When at the very beginning it was very rational and it was interesting, at the very end I wasn't just able to relate, you know, because there was zero common ground. I have lost another one to 5G, you know, like to the point where he actually left his job because they were making him go to business events and he didn't feel safe there because of radiation or I don't know, dude. Like, it has been very crazy. And you're right, Meyer. I mean, like, the preservation of the human race has had this type of story. So, flat Earth. Yeah, I know someone that I actually think is very intelligent, whatever, but he truly believes that the Earth is flat. I started engaging with conversations with him because I want to understand where these people are coming from, but he's just basically as well completely not scared because he doesn't have a scared personality, but he decided to leave the world, and go live in the mountains because the government will never be good to him, and the world is basically trying to kill him, So I've seen these things, and I think it's dangerous when all you consume is only a fantasy and only a story. Look at QAnon. Like, I started finding out stuff about QAnon, and there were some facts, the things that they mixed it with stories, and then at the end, also when I disconnected from it, was with the time traveling shit. It's like, okay, I'm sorry, I cannot engage anymore in this story because it just lost me. And yeah.
Yeah. No, it's just it's like it's so funny, like I know who you're talking about with the flat earth guy. He was very defensive about his flat earth theories. He was great though. I actually liked him a lot. But yeah, no, I mean, there's all these like fucking crazy conspiracy theorists that are like tying everything to the Jews, and Sam is one of them, unfortunately. That's just like, you can like literally like he'll tie anything to it and he'll make a post about it, and it's just like fucking insane what he's like doing. So I don't know. I feel bad for the guy. Like I said, his brain is fried with this shit. So I don't. Yeah, you just have to be careful with conspiracy theorists and conspiracy theories in general. You can just go down a really bad rabbit hole and end up moving to the mountains and being a fucking psycho, eating raw meat or something like that. So
I think you need to be a very well calibrated person and have a very well furnished brain in order to be safe when you get into conspiracy theories. Because if you're just a weak-minded person, you will just believe anything.
Yeah, so I'm actually a flat earther, to be honest. It's not like a disc where the water runs over. Okay, it's more like, we can look through microscopes and we can select microbes, and so they'll never know that they're being watched, right? And so imagine above us is also like this super big alien. He lives in this big alien society, which might look a lot like ours, actually. And so he's working in this lab and he's looking through the microscope. He's looking at the humans, and then goes a little bit to the left, and then he sees a different colony, and a little bit more, and so his whole table is full with all these different colonies. He has to just look at them and see what they're doing, those little.
Okay, humans. Fine. So that's your theory. Okay.
No,
hold on.
But there's a twist. So above that big alien, there's also another big alien.
Okay. So cool. The thing is, I am fine with you thinking that, but how do you bring that to reality? How is there anything that makes you think that other than your imagination?
She's asking for evidence.
Yeah. So I would.
Even a slight hint of what would because I also have a great imagination.
Right. So I would say Operation Fishbowl. This is what I would say, as short as I can. So
that's definitely not an evidence. The question was the evidence. If you don't have evidence, cool.
Well, that's my evidence. I would say Operation Fishbowl.
No, I am not saying that.
Operation Fishbowl is the name of your theory. That's not a.
No, this happened in the 1950s. The United States was shooting up rockets, and they would all explode at around 40 kilometers, and they would create an EMP. So my theory is this is where they hit the ceiling of the device with. I think it's inside a cube.
Okay, that's not true.
Well, just look it up. Operation.
I looked it up. It's not true. There were about 2 rockets that exploded. Rockets are the very end of physics, meaning you're literally making an explosion right before you explode the rocket and getting sent to space. Chemical rockets will never be a great, I mean, it's a perfect science. It'll always be at the very edge of exploding the rocket. Now, maybe we'll get really, really good at knowing exactly where that edge is, or maybe we'll come up with a better way to launch rockets into space. But the fact that rockets blew up is to be expected, not shocking. Also, many of our rockets, like most of our rockets, went way past the mark you're talking about.
But you made a claim like that there's an alien on top of the
No,
fishbowl.
it's not. He didn't make a claim. He said, "What if?" But it's okay. The what if, I'm fine with it. But other than you having a great imagination, is there anything that when you try to prove it, is there any indications for you to come up with this theory, or is it just a product of a great imagination?
No, I would also argue or say that what goes up must come down. So this is Newton's laws of physics.
That is not the laws of physics.
All right, but like what I'm saying is basically we'll never hit a point where
It's not a law of physics. There's multiple laws of physics. That's none of that.
Float in space.
Okay, the law of physics actually is a force will continue until it hits a greater or equal force. Now, living on Earth, where we have this big force called gravity, it's actually a very weak force, but because it's such a big Earth, then everything that goes up ends up not being strong enough to fight physics, to fight gravity. But as soon as you break the escape velocity, then you need a bigger or greater force to stop it. What goes up must come down is a colloquial term for us humans that have an earthly frame of mind. It's not a law of physics. I'm really shocked that I have to explain that, by the way.
Okay, but still, you will never.
You're shocked that you're explaining that to a flat earther.
You're floating, okay?
I'm shocked that a flat earther quoted a colloquialism as a law of physics.
All right, Richard Branson had to quit his "I will send a man up in space" thing. Why have they never built a space hotel on Moon, for example, one night for $1 million, something like that? You know, like, I mean,
because it would cost more than $1 million.
No, I mean, okay, forget that. But like, my point is,
let's forget that.
We're forgetting a lot of things over here. Is there anything that we can actually use?
If we forget all the physics, we might get to what we're talking about.
So it's like, if you look at the Sphinx, like if you look at the Sphinx, okay, like the heart of the Sphinx, they have like a little, like a pointy thingy on the chest, okay? So every 13,000 years, that thingy points to one star called Regulus, okay? So how do you explain that? I mean, if we're on an ellipsis,
broken clock is right twice a day,
etc., and that galaxy is spinning around something else, how come we always end up seeing the same like celestial star body? How does that?
Why is that surprising at all? If it's a model permanent.
Why? Because it would be different every day if you're spinning through space forever in an
It is different every day, but it keeps cycling.
No, it comes back to the same point every 13,000 years.
Cuckoo, hold on. Diego Meyer is also a flat earther.
Shocker! The illogical idiot who can't have as a shot at that.
Do you have your reinforcement? Yeah, would you have expected that, Meyer?
Don't worry, Cuckoo, let's tag team these motherfuckers.
Yes, a midwit that thinks that he could understand things and puts everything together wrong is a flat earther. That tracks perfectly.
Diego is a clear-cut rationalist when it comes to.
I simultaneously don't believe in space, but I also believe in Jewish space lasers.
You see? There he goes. First vote.
Okay. I'll drop it. No, but I would never argue. First of all, Isa, let's be clear. I don't believe in a flat earth. I'm open to the idea of a flat earth.
I know.
And I would never. And all of the things that I heard him say are completely unconvincing. That's not how I have become open to the idea.
mean?
It means that I don't believe that you, Meyer, know more than Cuckoo with respect to whether or not we are actually on a round or a flat earth.
Okay, I'm open to any idea. That's what science is. There are very few laws of science.
No, wait a second. I can't be open to an idea that is self-contradictory, right? I can't be open to those ideas. So that's what you've been demonstrating with Cuckoo, is that he contradicts himself.
Mir, you are considered a glober to the Flat Earth Society, so, just take that in for a second.
I would be very happy to be a global Earth conspiracy theorist. That's fine.
No,
there are very few laws of
they call
science.
them globers.
I'm fine. I could be a Glover. There's very few.
But that's reasonable the way I put it, right?
I don't know what you mean yet. If you say you're open to the idea, that we should be open to all ideas, but you've got to come with a strong hypothesis, and then we can test it as a theory. Everything that Cuckoo just said was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Right, that's not how I would approach it. Like, the way I would approach it, for example, is not being able to see the curvature of the Earth after an object distances itself from me 8 miles, right?
That's not surprising.
Okay, but I mean, at least it's founded in science and in logic. If what I'm being told is true, I should begin to see 1 inch lost for every 8 miles that an object leaves into the horizon, and I don't see that. Or I should see a curvature if I'm at a...
That did exactly that with I think it was a skyscraper, I forgot what it was, and put it into the field of vision, and it came out precisely, lost exactly what he claimed. It's a pretty funny video.
Yeah.
See an inch lost at 8.
That's
miles.
Because you can do a math equation.
You can see a boat. That's not what I asked. 8 miles. You can see a boat at further than 8 miles lose over the horizon. You can see it happen, but it's further than 8 miles because your eyes aren't going to see 1 inch from 8 miles away. So maybe you can't really measure an inch from 8 miles away.
That's not true.
You have the right. No, it is true that you can see a ship.
Well, that's precisely
on a clear day. You can see more than 8 miles.
No, but you can't measure.
That's not what I'm asking. That's not even what I'm asking. I didn't say you can't see 8 miles away. I said you won't see an inch difference of an object 8 miles away with your eyeballs. You won't see it. And you can see a ship 20
This phenomena is not limited to my eyesight. I can use a telescopic lens, and the same principle should
when that
apply.
has been done, I never did it, but when that has been done, that came out. So you want to know things that I've done.
Then you will see it disappear.
You would. And that's been tested and been tested.
You can Google ships.
Oscar, check the chat.
You want check the chat.
It's just if you're gonna stick it at 8 miles at an inch, no, of course not. If you're gonna look way further than 8 miles and you're gonna look at something that's 50 or 100 miles away, 50 miles away with a telescope or something, yes, you're gonna see a ship disappear 50 miles away. You're gonna see just the mast. The ship's gone.
Okay. All right.
So 1 second, Diego. I can tell you probably about 5 things that I've seen with my own eyes that point to
Not to mention, you can see the curvature of a really high airplane.
Okay, but I thought we were talking about science, not about your personal experiences.
Well, no, science
I
is
say I
proven.
can verify scientific things. I've seen the
science can
pendulum.
prove it. It's already proven, Diego. If you were to follow science, you wouldn't.
All right, one at a time, please.
I've seen the pendulum in museums that switches direction throughout the day, that only can come from spinning Earth. I've seen the phases of the moon, and eclipse is always in a round thing. You never see an eclipse well, I checked my own eyes. I've seen ships at sea disappear bottom first. That would not happen on a flat Earth. I've seen the curvature of Earth from airplanes. That you could argue
that the sun going down.
Let me tell you something even easier. How about this?
You've seen the sun going down?
I've seen 2 full eclipses in my life in the last 10 years. I
Me
drove
too.
to different places to see it. I know they're amazing, right? They're amazing. But here's the deal.
Yeah.
I was able to predict, they were able to predict for me where to go, where to drive in the United States to see a full eclipse. They were able to tell how many seconds I would see it based on where I stopped to look at it, okay? The people, they're telling me this years in advance, down to the second.
Are the ones making the holographic projection.
Diego, hang on. They're the ones using a round Earth model to predict it, okay? I've also seen photographs of the Earth with the eclipse across the surface of it being round on the round object. I've seen that too. If you can predict for me where the next eclipse will be without Googling it, based on any kind of flat Earth model science, please do. Because the minute you can do what they did based on round Earth science for me, down to the second, I might start to believe it. But the people predicting it will tell you that they're using a round Earth model to predict it. They're not using a flat Earth model. And they've proven that they're able to do it down to the second, to where I could drive and actually time it, and I proved it. So they are using a round Earth model, not a flat Earth model.
But I'm
they are not
curious
using
about
a projection model.
Because the predictions from the globers are all insanely accurate. We also found planets based on just calculations of where it should be, and then found the planet, one planet. So, Diego, I'm curious. When do you think round Earth became a theory? When do people start noticing think that the Earth is round.
But wait a second,
I don't know how to
Maya,
answer that
Maya,
question.
What would you say? What would you say about Stanley Kubrick, though? Like The Shining.
About what?
Like, what are these arguments exactly?
Yeah, I'm just curious. What are
Wait, Kubo.
of Stanley Kubrick's The Shining? Because there's so much about the moon landing in that. Like, I mean, he was trying to tell us something. I feel like.
Okay.
First of all, what you feel like is about a movie.
Yeah. First of all, what do you think about Ghostbusters, Kubo?
No, wait a second. He's referring
what do you think
he's
about
referring to the messages in The Shining that talk about the moon landing being fake.
Right.
Okay, that's what he's
Yeah.
talking
What
about.
do you think about the movie Elf and Santa Claus existing?
Wait a second. Wait, this is a slightly different question.
Wait, let's say that the moon was fake. Let's say the moon landing was fake. That makes no sense. But let's say the moon landing was fake.
But let's
So
pause for a
therefore
second, just to make the connection.
What?
I'm going to draw the connection for you guys so you understand. Although the calculations that Mr. Moon is talking about make it's one way to prove that we live on a flat or around Earth, excuse me. It would also, if I hope you guys will give me this one, be easy to believe in if we had evidence that someone could go into outer space and see the roundness of the Earth and demonstrate evidence, photographic evidence, video evidence of this thing, right? Okay, all right, fine. All right, that was it. Hey, I tried.
Well, it's poor. I can prove things in multiple ways. That's why I asked you, when do you think humans really...
Yeah, I'm not saying you can't. I'm saying you understand that for some people, just seeing the thing, the force or the effect is also a good way to convince them of things, right?
No, that's actually a pretty poor way. And based on that, you would think that straws bend when you stick them in water. That's called an illusion. In order to prove something, according to that theory...
No, I didn't say prove. I said in order to believe. You could have the proof in theory on a piece of paper, but it helps when you experience the phenomenon, right?
Diego, apparently it doesn't help because there's plenty of pictures of round Earth from space, and it doesn't convince anybody that.
Yeah, that's because NASA has admitted that they're fabrication. I mean, that's not a controversial.
They're fabrication. That's not true at all.
It is very true. I mean, come on, you guys have seen the memes where they show like the 7 different images of the Earth, and they're all completely different.
So let me get this straight.
NASA admitted that they photoshopped it. You can even see that there are like multiple.
Diego, I'm using a logic. Hang on. You just told me it would be really helpful to have pictures for proof, and then people would believe it. And then I say they have pictures for proof, and you say, but those pictures are fake. I don't believe it. That makes no fucking sense. That is the dumbest thing I've ever.
No. Wait, hold on. Let's pause for a second. Let's talk about a photo that would actually help. Right? Okay. So you go to the
Diego, I just want to point out to you that the ancient Greeks realized the Earth was round, and they did it with a very simple experiment that you could actually do yourself if you do enough work. I know.
What they do.
What they do.
You're talking about the sundial.
No.
Well, that's another experiment that they did.
Okay, what they did was they measured the shadow of 2 sticks in different cities, and
yes, that's the sundial.
That's not a sundial.
Yes, they didn't do it with sticks. They did it with a triangle, and it's a sundial.
He did it with actual sticks, but okay. Either way,
they made the famous experiment with a sundial.
That experiment was done 3,000 years. No, not 3,000. Close to 3,000 years ago.
Yeah, look, it's cool that you're so confident that you know exactly how the world works. It's fine. That's cool. That's an impressive way to live your life.
You're confident that you know exactly how the world doesn't.
No,
I said I'm open to different explanations. He's not.
No, that's a strong. Simon, what did I say when you said open to different explanations?
That's not how you're arguing it anyway.
Oh my God, 2022 Clubhouse is so back right now. I fucking love it.
Wow. No, this is 20. Oh yeah, it's 2022. 2021 was pure vaccine. And talking about vaccines, Dr. Jordan came in the room. Yeah. Hey, Oscar.
Oscar, if your friends come into the room, we're kicking them out instantly. I'm just saying.
Why?
Oh, that's fucked up.
Every time he comes into the room, there's like 6 people who come, and they're just like the loudest people that contribute.
It gets real ghetto real fast.
Who? Oscar? Yeah. Because Oscar Kitover brings his friends and they just start like being crazy.
Oscar, you're like that flea bag from Charlie Brown. Just bring the flies with you, dude.
That's fucked up. Y'all are racist. I hear
That has
it.
nothing to do with races. That shit, it's called a pattern.
I love Oscar.
They just happen to be black. They just happen to be black.
I don't even care what race they are. I'm just saying, if your friends start to come in and be loud, I'm taking them out. I'm just saying.
Did you, Simon,
It's all a
did you
coincidence
already
when
identify the
white people
new,
do it.
did you already identify the new accounts of Edmund?
Mine?
Did you already identify all the new accounts of Edmund?
No, he hasn't added me on any of them.
No, I think he just changed all the names and created new ones.
Oh, well, I mean, I always kick out, like, if there's a PTR with a girl with massive tits and that says that they go to university, I always just kick them out.
Why do you do that?
That sounds gay.
Because Simon hates massive tits.
Yeah,
Ooh.
Everybody.
I'm a little bitch.
Anyway, I just wanted to tell you.
No, I
because
just
I'm sure
don't
that
like
he's been
useless people.
around, but we just kind of like it because you always kick him out, so he's just camouflaging, I guess.
I'm pretty good at kicking out. He's probably here now
You're
just
afraid to
listening
hear
and
the
laughing.
things that you say are going to be saved.
Mm-hmm.
No, not at all. I don't care.
Then what's the deal?
Because he came into a room and
He doesn't want the other objectivists to hear that
I'm never,
he's an anti-capitalist.
I'm never accepting it again.
Anyway, so yeah, flat earthers. Those rooms were amazing.
Were they though?
They're still happening.
I think, well, some of them, I mean, when there were people people on both sides, you know, like they were playing tennis, you know, like throwing the ball to each side and kind of like challenging, not fighting. That was interesting. Now, when it's only flat earthers and they're starting, that I cannot follow.
Well, look, on one hand, I could accept the challenge of like challenging your basic premises, but like if you're so confident, then you should have at least a basic understanding, like the sundial, etc. But again, it shouldn't go beyond that. It should just be like, yeah, we all accept that the Earth is round because of the amount of evidence, the overwhelming evidence, and that's it.
You could
But
even loosen that.
there's-
You could say for now we're going to accept the Earth is round until you.
Yeah, it's round, but it's flat round.
Yeah, exactly.
It's round, but it's flat round. It's just
That's
not
right.
a ball.
That's right.
And when we talk about hitting both sides, it's both sides of the flat Earth, like the left side, the right side.
Yeah. Like I remember the first time Diego brought this up to me, and I was just like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "Okay, well, give me an example." And I was like, "Okay, let me go and do a little bit of more research." And now, okay, I have my examples that I can cite as to why it's round.
Right. How about are you open to the idea that they're lying to you about the space station or the flight to the moon or anything?
I'm open to everything.
I don't know how I feel. I don't know how I feel about that. But to be honest, to be very honest,
you can see the space station with your naked eye. You don't need to.
I mean, I've seen actual photographers in my Facebook groups take pictures of the space station. So I don't know about that, but like, look,
are you open?
The amount of propaganda that I've seen in terms of like the meat industry, like in terms of like the whole keto stuff, is fucking insane. Like the food pyramid and all that stuff. So.
Yeah,
the government lies. The government lies. We agree with that.
Yeah, it's manipulative.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you should always assume the government's lying until proven otherwise, right? That's the reason.
No, that is not. See, bro, you play word games in your mind.
Tell me more about the government cult. Tell me more about the government cult.
More about the government cult. You should always look for the underlying motivation for the lie. There's a very good reason for the food pyramid. We understand which lobbyist group got it in there and why it was put in. Just saying the government lied about the orientation of the Earth across multiple generations and multiple planets to a belief that was embedded in human science for over 2,500 years is stupid.
Also, when you speak about the government as like a monolith entity, saying like the government as opposed to individuals who were bribed within the government or who were bought,
And also, there's not just one government.
I agree,
Like
but
Americans, hello, there are other governments, and even if all the governments of the United States will try to convince that there's a flat Earth, there are like other countries in the world with other governments, guys.
I mean, the USSR and America had a space race. Either one would have just said, "Hey, you guys are lying." They would have won the space race. Like
exactly.
I mean, when you go to school in Russia, they tell you that the government is lying.
When you talk about a conspiracy, Meyer is right. Like there is a basis, a reason for them wanting to lie to you. Whether it is, I don't know, for example, the food pyramid, as he says, the lobbying and all this industry, whatever. When you talk about, let's say, COVID or vaccines, if you want to believe that, well, okay, control of people, da da da. Now, when you are talking about flat Earth, what are they gaining? Like, how are they profiting with this? What are they gaining? And why would we even care that the Earth is flat or round? Like, I bet that if it's flat, and today it was revealed to the world, everybody would be talking about it for 2 days and the weekend, and then on Monday everybody goes to work again. You take the same car again, you take your flights, your life has changed nothing.
Not like it's Gaza.
What do they gain?
Not Gaza.
Can I answer this quickly?
Gaza? Hey, I didn't change the subject.
How much you change? It's like a lot of misallocated money, basically. So like the money that goes into science, into furthering all this stuff, like that's a waste. You're living in a completely
Why?
different
How much
society.
money? How much money goes?
How much money goes to flat Earth?
Billions.
Billions. Okay, so that's okay.
You can use this money to clean the beaches, for example, or make sure that the forests are like kept intact. Things like that.
Forests are kept intact. What do you mean?
Well,
There's more trees today than there were. There's more trees today than there ever was on Earth.
I don't know
That's
that
one
first,
forest.
Simon, but that's a weird way.
I don't know, that's one forest.
Wait, to add on to what Isa said, it's not just that there has to be a motivation behind the conspiracy theory. You have to look at other people's motivations. We have a couple of adversaries in this world against the United States, and that's good that there's not just one. If China, Russia, Iran would come out with images and show that America is lying, that would be an extreme embarrassment and a great move for them to do. So there's high motivation. If one college, one university would come out and be able to show that NASA did this, and we can use the money to clean the beaches, they would jump on that. Really,
the cosmonauts did that. The reason they didn't send anybody to the moon was because of the Van Allen belt.
No,
Hold on, can somebody please bring up L?
That's not true. The reason why where's L?
L down there. It's just like
I invited her.
I just invited
The reason why the cosmonauts didn't go to the moon was because, now I forgot his name, he died about 2 years before. The way the Russians had their socialist government and communism, they concentrated everything into one place, and after he died, they weren't able to go to the moon. The United States didn't know that. If the United States would know that, we probably wouldn't have spent so much money trying to win the race. That's why the moon landing fake makes no sense. The U.S. did not know that Russia wasn't right behind them. America thought Russia would land on the moon the next day and see the flag. So that is not why they did it, because of Van Allen belt.
If we hadn't gone to the moon, Russia would have ratted us out.
Russia would have ratted us out, and Russia would have gone to the moon. Russia, due to their poor government, couldn't make it to the moon. And the Van Allen belt has been proven over and over. Radiation is extremely deadly even at low intervals if you're there for a long time. The astronauts went straight to that Van Allen belt. They got hit with a bunch of radiation, but it was for a very short amount of time, and they survived. We knew about it, they went through it, it's not surprising. As long as you go straight through it and don't stop, you'll be fine.
And by the way, Japan and China both have photographs that they've supplied of their own satellites around the moon of our landing site that shows our lander base still there. So there's other countries that have provided proof with photographs.
There's a mirror that we still use. There's a mirror that we left on the moon that we still use.
Of course, but nobody's going to believe that if they don't believe it already. What I'm saying is, other countries, if you believe that the U.S. lies, and why would other countries provide that we were? It makes fucking sense.
Well, James is going to go to the moon eventually and work from the SpaceX platform or build a SpaceX platform over there, right, James?
That's correct.
There you go.
He can tell you the Earth is not flat, right, James?
Again, there was the obelisk experiment that was mentioned earlier as a good example of that.
Caleb, are you raising your hand?
I have a bone to
He
pick
didn't
with
call
you.
it a stick. He called it an obelisk to make
Hold
it
on,
esoteric.
Diego, I couldn't hear Caleb. Hold on.
I have a bone to pick with you when there's a moment.
Go for it.
You called me a communist the other day.
Are you talking to me?
To me or to?
No, Issa. You called me your favorite communist.
Oh.
Oh yeah, you're my favorite communist.
I'm not a communist.
And Simon's my favorite.
But this is why you're the favorite.
Hold on.
Why do you think? Why do you think I'm a communist?
It's just my way of calling you a lefty.
You're just not a capitalist.
I'm a lefty.
Yeah, you're the lefty. So
I'm a half a capitalist. There's good things about capitalism.
I feel.
No, it's only good.
To figure out how is it that you are that lefty, because when we talk about economics, I tend to agree with everything that you say. And so I've been trying to figure out kind of like where is it.
All of that lead him away from
Ask you a question,
capitalism.
he said, does he believe that the government should run courts like Simon?
Ask me.
Oh yeah, that's too complicated.
Ask me. I'm sitting right here.
Insane.
What is
That is an insane statement that you have rationalized.
With relevance to the courts.
This is called rationalism, Diego. Go read into the epistemology of rationalism. You're playing word games to justify positions. That's all you're doing.
Okay.
Okay. You don't have a sound political view. It's anarcho-capitalism is not a real view.
I mean, Issa, I was raised by people who, marched against the Vietnam War and were part of Cultural Revolution in the 60s, and, lifelong Democrats. That's the house I was raised in. And I'm very committed to, I don't know anything about economics, really. I think most of my leftism comes on social issues. And that's sort of where I kind of...
Yeah, it's your moral.
Can you give us an example of a social issue
that's what I
leftist?
have sensed. Like more, like for example, when it comes to, I don't know, the equality and all of this kind of stuff is something that you speak of all the time.
Which quality?
Equality and equity.
Oh, so it was interesting. Yeah, so it was interesting. The other day there was a thread of a conversation, I think with you, that was about you're talking about objectivism and Ayn Rand, and the highest moral good is, self-preservation and all of that. And I was
no question.
Right. And I was thinking to myself that, there's some truth in that, and that resonates in part. And I think well-being is actually the highest moral good, not self-preservation.
Like self-well-being.
Collective well-being.
Collective well-being.
Collective well-being. I would prioritize collective well-being.
But the thing is that and that's where we would disagree. What? Somebody said.
I don't think communism is about collective well-being.
Simon, you argue the same thing. You said courts are there to preserve the collective well-being, property rights.
No, I said
the well-being of the collective, of everybody, right?
Because I have a sound view of the role of government, and the role of an institution is to protect your individual rights. Now, how that manifests is that
all individual rights.
One of those legitimate roles is to have a court. Now, you're just playing word games and saying capitalism is this, and because there is a market that we can fulfill with this service, this fits into capitalism. Yeah, but that doesn't fit in an objective society where the role of government is to protect individual rights. Now, okay, anyways, I'm not gonna take up the stage.
Okay, so Issa, I have a complaint against you. You're not a boomer. You cannot use communism as the insulting consultant. Just a leftist.
She's a boomer. She bumps the room all the time.
Isn't she a boomer?
It is
what should
I say? Leftists or progressives, but calling Hillary Clinton a socialist is such a boomer thing to do.
I know, but the thing is that I'm also a classical liberal. I don't believe in these libertarianism thing.
Just be a millennial and call her a Satanist.
Oh my God, what the fuck?
I mean, she is.
Yeah, I think this idea. I think it has to be both, right? I think we obviously have to protect individual rights, and we obviously have to create a society in which most of the people, the broadest amount of people, are going to be able to take advantage of their protection of individual liberties, not only for their own good, but that there'll be communal good and societal good. So I always think that the individual and the collective aren't.
Do you not agree with that statement?
One second. I tend to think that the individual and the collective are not at odds with each other, but they're a symbiotic whole.
I agree.
I agree, but
I agree too.
Marx. So did Marx.
That's no. What Marx claimed was we do social engineering to make the work for the whole. What I am saying, I don't think you're saying, is if you give each person individual rights and everyone acts within the law, but selfishly, that is the best way for society. That's a very different.
I mean, Marx literally said like the people are just an extension of the state.
Well, but
right, and I'm saying
Marx also wanted to create a new socialist man, so he didn't want people as you know them. He wanted a new type of person, like a North Korean.
And I'm saying the exact opposite. I'm saying that if you protect each individual's rights, and that's all the government does, then each person acting selfishly will make a better society.
Yeah, like every person's interest shouldn't coincide with other people's if it's a rational end, and if it does, then you have an objective mechanism to arbit that dispute. That's it. That's why you want a government. It's in your interest.
That's why you don't want a government.
Diego doesn't have interests, so you just,
No, because I have interests, I definitely don't want the bureaucracy of a government. That because I have interests, because I'm selfish. It's actually the other way around.
No, and
it's a trade, right? It's a trade.
Well, no, in capitalism it's a trade-off.
I had just said 5 words. And so you don't know exactly what I was going to say.
No, when you say trade-off, that's a part where I have a say in it. If I can't trade it off, then it's not capitalism, it's socialism. That's the whole point.
Right, so clearly you weren't ready to listen to the point I was going to make because you
don't even get it. Such a bad opening. Learn how to open.
Don't be such a moron.
Don't be such a moron.
I mean, I get it. It's live performance, so it's difficult.
No, it's unlikely, but you might learn something if you let someone finish their share.
All I'm saying is that, right, that the relationship between people and their governments, right, is a trading, right? It always is. Protection of something versus benefit. That's always what it is. You always give something up, even in the most objectivist society. You're not fully free. It's not like there's no limits, right? There is still a limit. My argument here is that the idea of total full autonomy versus total collectivist identity and an only social engineered way to set up the society, that's a false dichotomy, right? Humans need, biologically, evolutionarily, right? We need organizing social structures. And so the freedom and liberty parts of that are always going to rub up against our evolutionary tendencies.
That's all good. You're making a great point with colloquialisms. Now say it in a scientific manner.
I'm not sure I could say it in a scientific manner.
You can't because you contradict yourself. That's the point. So what you're saying.
Where did I contradict myself? Because
at the end of the day, if you're not allowing a person to voluntarily trade something, which you call
where did I contradict myself?
Then you're forcing them to do things. And nobody chooses to have a government rule over them. They're
Diego, take a breath, man. Where did I contradict myself?
I just told you you're not listening.
You didn't say where I contradicted myself. Please point out the contradiction.
When you said that having a government is a trade-off, you are invoking the implication that people freely choose the government, except that's not what the government is.
That's not true. I did not make that implication. Hold on.
You made your point. So let me point.
Hold on.
So then let me follow the logic. If you're not making
No. Hold on a second. No, wait a second, Diego. Wait a second. I did not imply that it's all of our individual choices to make the trade-off.
It's the rulers that do the trading off, right? It's the rulers that do it.
And it was.
I'm just cutting to the chase.
Can you stop fucking interrupting?
Can you stop contradicting yourself?
Diego, come on.
Diego.
Both of you. Can you guys have go just a back and forth? You both are intelligent. You can have this.
We can. I know we can do this.
Emote.
Yes, I know you guys can. I know you can. So Diego, stop interrupting. Let him finish.
Thank you. I'm not saying that we each on a daily basis or even at a certain point you reach the age of majority and you say, yeah, I agree to this system or not agree to this system. Other people agreed for us on our behalf hundreds of years ago. And that's just the way that it is when you're born into a government system. When you're born into a place that has the government, there are rules from the second that there are relationships set up from the second you are born. The social contract, my understanding of it at least, is not that in some kind of, over the passage of time, people get to, make their decision about whether they want to adhere to the social contract or not. And that's when that happens, you have what's called revolution, right? So I just don't understand what your critique of me is by my pointing out that relationships between government and the governed is always a trade. It's always a trade. Regardless of whether you would accede to the trade, it's always a trade.
All right, he said he doesn't understand, so now I'm going to address it. I wrote it in the chat. Number one, you said others decided for us. Okay? So when you say that I decide or you decide, you are not being reasonable or saying something that is truth based on your own premise. You said others decide for us. I wrote it down. And you also said the social contract where you say we're bound to a contract that we didn't sign or agree to. I wrote it down too. Right there, it's in the chat.
I'm glad you brought it out. Right, but these are all this is all just the way it is.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying I'm not saying that you're wrong that people decide for us. I'm saying that when you say syntactically, that we decide, you're not talking in a coherent manner.
Okay. I understand your point. Wait. Can we go back? Can I just wait a second?
But you see how I could identify this from like 1 second? It didn't take me 2 minutes.
Fine. Just shut the fuck up, you piece of shit.
Okay.
Shut up.
Spend more spittle. Go ahead.
Come on, Diego.
God damn it.
You're a very emotional person, Kayla.
Oh my God, Diego,
it's a problem that you have.
Okay, both of you stop. Diego, you pointed out something, but it was...
No, Mayor, let me keep going. Please.
I want to center the conversation. It was completely irrelevant to the share, because whether it's a trade-off like in nature, there are trade-offs, or whether the trade-off was agreed upon, or whether the trade-off was agreed upon by our ancestors, is irrelevant to the share. The share was, which is flawed, and I can tell you why it's flawed, was that there's always a trade-off between regulations and freedom. However that evolved, it's irrelevant. So the powers that you wrote down had nothing to do with anything.
Okay, but Caleb understood his point, so he wants to address it.
So now I understand you have a problem with the grammar that I used. Okay, so let me try to adjust. Okay, let me try to. So that's a very sophisticated
your grammar
way.
Was fine.
The grammar was fine, the syntax was bad. Okay, fine. I had to make a syntactical error, right? Please understand what I'm so stupid.
Okay, go ahead.
Please understand what I meant, and what Mayor said is correct, right? It wasn't relevant to what we were talking about, but the tension inherent in individual rights and collective rights, right? Or the individual and the collective are just going to be inherent in any kind of civil human society. That's just the way that it is. And the way that you negotiate that is you trade rights with security or other kinds of benefits. That's just how that works.
Okay, let me ask you, let me see if I understand your point. Let me see if I understand your point. Suppose I want to express my free will and you want to have regulations or whatever you have. In what sense do I trade off? Like, what exactly am I obligated to do? Or can I choose to do something?
That's the that color.
There's a macro
tension.
Yeah, there's just a natural tension between individuals. Right? We don't live as hermits, right? And because humanity doesn't live as hermits, we have to navigate and negotiate all of our relationships with other people that we are evolutionary predisposed to live as, right? We are evolutionarily need collectives, right? So the question is now that we're in a modern, postmodern state, right, of affairs, where we have this thing called individual liberties, how do we navigate and negotiate that up against our evolutionary needs, right? And coding, it says we need each other to thrive.
I guess the government will decide, right?
Okay, we have.
Well, the government is one. Right. So the government is one strategy to try to navigate that tension. Not the only one. It may not even be the best one. It's certainly
Right,
one.
that's why
of
your
the
parents protested, right? Because they thought the protest would bring about a change, right?
Well, that's.
Yeah, they protested because they didn't want their friends to be dying in a war. Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, can we just have a room not to but like soon on what the right is, because
No.
we're just gonna be talking past each other. This guy thinks that in the future we can have individual rights and swim.
Hi, Alan.
This is the non.
Yes, Alan.
Yeah, let me make this simple. Humans are cooperative, they are not collective. And they are best suited to negotiate that cooperation amongst themselves. Now, we have codified some of those collaborations into law, but the best thing a government can do is stay the hell out of the way of humans cooperating with each other. Elected is always authoritarian. It always ends up as authoritarian, and it's always ended up with the murder of millions of people. How many more?
See, Alan gets it.
Countries?
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question, Alan? Alan, I have a question for you.
Well,
do you suppose? Because do you suppose that it has something to do with size? I just had a question.
It has.
Do you suppose that? Do you suppose that? Because it strikes me that right on a local level, dealing with smaller amounts of. When you're dealing with smaller amounts of people, the idea of not having interference makes more sense because people will be able to make decisions in their own local context, which is much more right. So the people in Nebraska don't have to worry about the people in New York, right? So I get that. So is one of the problems one of size?
No.
They're just too big and unruly to manage.
No, it's not size.
Well.
I was asking Alan.
Yes, I get you. I understand.
You get my point?
Yes, and the point is that as we have seen, the larger bureaucracies get, the less efficient they get, and the more problematical they get. That would be my answer to that. And so again, it still boils down to we need to keep the government out of the way of people's collaboration. It's when it gets, and I can concede the point that there is some wiggle room there. With how much are we going to regulate, and when does this regulation go too far?
Alan, when is regulation justified? Because we need foundational rules, or the wiggle room, we're going forever.
You need a principle.
Right, foundational principle. When is it okay for the government to interfere?
Yes, I agree, and yes, because without rules, then it becomes chaos. That's
great.
true.
So what are the rules in your paragraph?
Well, in what are my rules? Well, that might be a longer discussion, but I would say.
Okay, I can make it really, really quick. The government protects rights, doesn't give benefits to anybody ever, no matter how big one. So that's why what Cully was saying, I disagree with. It doesn't matter how big the government is, and it doesn't matter the tension. It matters what the government's role is. The government's role is to protect your inalienable rights. That's it.
Yes.
Once the government starts social engineering and starts picking up group for any reason, it has stepped outside of its bounds, and there's no limiting principle.
Yes, I agree with you. And remember, the United States, I don't care, excuse me if I don't get the wording right, but the point of the United States is to ensure the rights that are given by our Creator. I forget the exact wording.
Inalienable rights bestowed upon us by our Creator.
Thank you very much. That's the point.
Endowed.
Yep, and that now I may be wrong, but I read somewhere that all other governments, it's the government that gives you the right.
Correct.
Within whatever country. In our Constitution, it's the idea that our rights are coming from a power or something above.
I don't know if it's all other. I wouldn't want to say that, but it definitely was a break from monarchy, and it's definitely innovative in its time.
Yeah.
No, I would like to try to give it a shot with Caleb. Well, not with you, but like to what you're talking about.
I'm married, but you can try to shoot your shot if you want.
Okay, so I agree with you 100% that the collective, let's say, it's not detached from the individual. We need collaboration and we need cooperation in order to work in a society. I 100% agree with you on that. Now, when you think about it, the essence of each of them, so you have individualism and you have collectivism. Individualism puts the individual at the center of it. And what that means is that the individual is able to choose what he wants to do, but also is obliged to be responsible for the consequences of his choices, right? So when you allow that to happen, you automatically are fostering that collaboration, because Isa cannot live just as Isa, isolated from everyone else. But if I know I am on my own and the government is not coming to cover for my mistakes or my choices or whatever, I will choose to cooperate with my neighbors, with my family. I will ensure that I build a strong supporting system. It will create a community because I will need them because I don't have the government. I will make sure that I get married, that I have children, that I am close to my dad and my mom and my sisters, that my neighbors are keeping an eye on my apartment. You actually create collaboration. When there is no government taking care of your children, then you go to the church or the synagogue, and there is some community, and so it's not my children, it's our children, Now, that is on the individualistic side. On the collectivist side, the problem is that the prioritization goes to the collective. So we are working here for the collective, and the individual, we forget about him. So we use the individual in order to fund the rights of the collective, the benefits of the collective. And the problem with that, when you do it, is that instead of fostering actual relationships, my relationship now is with the government. I have benefits. I don't need to get married because if I'm single, I'm benefited by the government. I pay less taxes or whatever you want to see. If I am a single mother, I don't need to look for a husband. I don't care if my husband left or if I just had a one-night stand, and I had children, because the government is going to take care of that. If I don't have a job, it doesn't matter because then the government pays me. I don't need to have a strong network and find a job. You get my point? And so in the end, this idea of collectivism, what actually does is that it disconnects people from the society and from the need of collaboration. So it's a little bit fucked up because it's inversed, I think. But they have made us believe that collectivism is the virtuous thing to go after because it sounds nice, because it makes you think that you're worrying about the rest of the people and that you're being generous to them. But what actually it's doing is that it's disconnecting individuals, and they're depending 100% on the government. And you see that these people don't have strong ties to their families, or they're worried more about the war of justice than the actual collective. And that was my
very interesting.
Say last time. So remember when I asked you about the Acolyte? That's exactly what that Star Wars show is about, the new one. That's why, The question
Hang on,
is, do you tend want to be a Sith, or do you feel more like a Jedi? Essentially?
Okay, I will give a look. Although I'm not a Star Wars girl, but yeah, I will give a look.
So here's what I would say to that. I think in America for sure, I think that the pendulum has swung too far to government involvement. Though I do think the government can be a force of good, definitely for protecting individual rights and the kinds of foundational regulations that Mayor was talking about. What I think it comes down to really is when you talk about in the individualistic setup, what I don't see happening that I would see as a prerequisite for having that be successful is a good civic education, which I think we just don't have. We don't teach people self-sufficiency. We don't teach people those kinds of things, and part of that has to do with the government overreach, but part of it is the collapse of civics, right? And I think I could get behind a social setup where people understood that they both have responsibilities, perhaps primarily to themselves and their families, but also to others. Actually speaking, the understanding is that the collective cannot be healthy without the deep work of individuals. But in that setup, I would argue that the collective is still the goal. The method of strengthening the collective is strong individuals who know how to collaborate. But in the end of the day, what you're really looking for is a high-functioning collaborative society, which is much more, much less about individuals than it is about creating a function.
The problem.
Okay, I pretty much agree with.
Did that make sense? Did that make sense?
It does make sense, but I just want to say one sentence, Mike. The problem with what you're saying is that your model actually creates weaker individuals. My model creates stronger individuals. And so the solution of finding to make these people stronger is not to keep giving them everything, but actually.
It wasn't my argument that it makes weaker individuals. I think either one.
No, it's not your argument.
No. I think either kind of setup could create strong individuals or weak individuals. The question is how do we teach people how to live in this society? How do we teach people to live in this? Right.
The loss of capitalism will create stronger individuals, but there will also be people that work hard. But I pretty much agree with most of what you're saying. I just wanted my main pushback is we have to have a limiting principle for government involvement, or we won't just end up where we are today. It will get worse and worse and worse. So my point is that I agree with you that strong individuals will create a stronger society. Now, there will be people that make bad choices and fall apart, and that's a problem. There will be orphans that have to be taken care of, that will rely on the charity of their neighbors. That I agree with. But strong individuals will make a strong society. Now, if we don't have this limiting principle, we say, I'm just going to help here a little bit. What you're actually saying is, I'm going to forcibly take money from these people, or resources, or work, whatever it is, and push it to those people. And you might have the greatest intentions, but without, again, this limiting principle, it will be abuse. It'll be going for reasons. It'll be crony capitalism we have today. It'll be pushed to people that are running it for whatever reasons, and it doesn't work. So
let me ask you a question. That's all wrong with. So your individualist-led society, right, is not doing the work of taking care of their poor people. What's the remedy?
Education, explaining to people that it does, but the remedy, well, let's be, I'm giving hyperbolic. The remedy is not going to the one person that you think is doing well.
No, tell me what it is. Tell me what it is. Don't tell me what it is.
Education only education.
So that was my point too. Wait, so I think that was my point too, right? If you're teaching people,
Alan wants to.
What I'm saying is we need a strong limiting principle and say government involvement is evil in these cases, even under the best intentions.
So how would you draw the line?
Go ahead.
When it's protecting negative rights, when the government is protecting people from infringing on my rights. Once they take away my excess, which I would give up on taxes, and give it to someone who is less, no, taxes are not intrinsically evil. Simon would say that it's wrong. Part of protecting my negative rights is making sure there's an army that is stealing from invaders. No, that's not true.
No, because Meyer is talking about a framework of law, not
Correct.
that is not imposing what you ought to do,
Correct.
but it delineates what you're not able to do, like killing or stealing private property or owning people, for example.
Us supporting a court system that if we get into a dispute, we can go to a court system, which was the only way to have a functioning capitalist society.
And why call it taxes?
Right, no, well, the tax is not intrinsically evil. It's what they do with the taxes.
What do you mean? Do you know the definition of taxes?
I'm very aware of the definition of taxes. And
But
I'm
let's
aware
not
that,
move, hold on, before we move to
I'm
taxes.
fine with the government stealing my money if they're doing with it what the government is meant to do.
That's like a woman saying, I'm fine with a guy raping me as long as he gives me an orgasm.
Okay, that's fine.
That's
retarded. That's a dumb thing to say.
That's a dumb thing to say, exactly.
Okay, so the point is, in order to have a functioning society that our individual rights are protected, we need a centralized government. We are fine with contributing to that. Once the government starts doing things in the best of intention that are taking away from one and giving to another, that's where I have a problem with it. But protecting the courts, the fire department, the police system, the army, those are all things, well, police, those are all things that are protecting the rights that I'm saying is the government's job. Government's job, government needs to be funded, government needs to tax. Without that, you're going to have freeloaders.
So now,
Hold on, dear Lord. Alan has been waiting. Dear Alan, go ahead.
Yeah, because poor. Now, personally, I believe that if one is doing well, one can help
and will want
and do not be an asshole about it. However, this idea, first of all, that the government is the best vehicle by which to help the poor is one that the left has been pushing and is not necessarily true, and historically has not been true. So, for example, during the time of Henry VIII, it was the Catholic Church that was providing the aid for the poor. Not the government, not the monarchy, not the poor, it was the church. The second issue is, and this is, coming out of what has happened is the left has weaponized charity. And what I see happening, because I was involved in this, is the whole New Age movement in the 90s and the early 2000s and spirituality and all of that. I see that coming into play now. The difference is the first rule of helping someone is to understand that each person is on their own path, and you interfering in what that path is actually robs them of their dignity, of the ability to learn, the ability to emotionally grow, the ability to spiritually grow, and the ability to physically grow, which goes in line with what you were saying, Isa, about and Mayer, about creating strong people. You can tell someone how to swim, but at a certain point, until they jump in the water and have to realize, crap, if I don't move my arms, I'm going to go under and I'm going to drown. They have to do that. They have to experience that. There is nothing in the world that is going to change that equation.
You are interfering with their agency, which is one of the inalienable rights. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So when it comes to the question of helping the poor, and when it comes to how do we allocate resources to help the poor, because Caleb, I agree, a society that lets, orphan children go hungry does not reflect well on its, dare I say it, Christian values. But the way in which we do that is, and the way it's being done now, and the communist or Marxist or socialist example of saying that government is the vehicle by which we do that, that is not the answer. because then ultimately you end up with, like my year, people who are pissed because why am I giving money because some other person can't get their crap together? I'll end with that. Thanks.
I agree 100%. I would say I want to address one comment you put in the chat, Caleb. It says the government can be a force of good, but not necessarily so. I would at the same time about a totally individualistic society can be good, but not necessarily so. I would agree with you. Now the difference is that when you have it centralized in the government, you open the door. Well, so if it ends up not being good, we're all fucked up. If an individualistic society, some individuals end up not being good, the good individuals will make that balance, that check and balances when you have a decentralized power. But go ahead.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, in the extremes, I don't hear anybody here advocating for the extremes, right? Total government control, totalitarianism, and I don't hear anybody advocating for, the absence of some kind of social structure, call it government, call it whatever.
I'm advocating for that.
You want to call it.
I'm here.
You're advocating for that? Okay.
The DA goes advocating for complete anarchy.
Okay. Well, that's a position. What I hear that perhaps is, right, what's the best way to manage individual rights and liberties and collaborative needs, right? And those are never going to go away. So, I tend to be in a middle position here.
Because they're never going to go away. The principles don't matter.
So nobody's named the principles here yet. I think that's interesting. Right? Nobody's said what are they.
You're a pragmatist anyway. It wouldn't matter if I gave you a principle.
Absolutely. Why wouldn't it matter if you gave me a principle? Give me a principle.
If I said stealing is wrong, then you would agree that that's taxation is theft. But if you say, well, but we need government, then you're going to say taxation is acceptable, even if someone doesn't want to pay it, because we need it for the good of society. So you have no principle.
Humans are great. Humans are. I don't think any of that would be entailed if I just said stealing is wrong. So I'm just on that. But look, humans are amazing creatures. We're also shitty creatures, right? And so the question is what keeps us in check towards productivity, towards well-being, right? And so there's a clearly legitimate debate, right? It's a legitimate debate about the best way to go and handle that, right? You'll notice I'm not here saying objectivism or individualism is wrong. I'm saying we need to have some of it, and I'm not saying government is totally good. I think we need to have the right-sized one.
Wait, I gave clear principles. I said exactly what the government's role should be, and anything outside of that is wrong. And taxation to fund what the government's role is okay. Those are principles. You can argue with them, but I definitely get principles.
Yeah,
no, because you said you had
to. Like the moment you give up the notion that someone's need is a moral claim on someone else's property, you've completely obliterated the entire concept of individual rights. It doesn't exist anymore.
That's the point. That's why
you can't say you want some social welfare, but also individual rights. You can't say like there should be public schooling and individual rights. These would be contradictions as to what a right is.
Now you can say that you have schools for children that are paid for through donation. That wouldn't be a violation of individual rights.
Yeah, because it would be a voluntary contribution. But that's
the thing. But that's the thing you said before, right? That each individual, from some result of their civic education in some way, should be motivated to give what they can. In other words, it shouldn't just be about I want to or I don't want to, but there should be a sense of there should be a sense of some kind of obligation to the other.
Well, the thing is that I don't think the word. I don't think the word is obligation, but more like an incentive. And I think that the incentive, and this is how some societies have worked, including the U.S. at the very beginning in its conception, is that people that had wealth, they wanted to live in a society where they could have happy people, where they could have people that had good values, good education, because they would benefit from that, instead of being surrounded by thugs. And so that would be an incentive for the people with money to try to invest in their society, including in the education of people and the values and all of these kind of stuff. So
I want to make sure I understood that. I want to make sure I understood that. Hold on, can I make sure I understood that? Can I make sure I understood incentive here?
Okay.
Just want to make sure I got that. By incentive, you mean that
a reason to do
this. Well, no, just hang on.
Hold on, Diego.
Jesus.
Open the dictionary.
This reminds. Dude, shut the fuck up.
Go ahead.
It reminds me of a conversation from a while ago about altruism. And so what you're saying is that the incentive here is if they're taking
bring it up. Yeah, I was just going to bring it up. Yeah.
Right. So the incentive there is not that they will be good, but the incentive there is that they're in a better position. I'm in a better position, right? So it's a little bit selfish. That's what you mean incentive.
It's correct. It's in self-interest.
Okay.
So it won't be a charity all on its own. It will not be because just but I am doing it because in my best interest that my company, my enterprise or whatever, is surrounded by not violent people, but intelligent, that are civil, it's in my interest that the company is surrounded by a safe environment, that everything is clean, that everything looks nice, because it will attract more clients. I don't know, whatever you want to make the case. But there is always an incentive motivated by self-interest in us trying to keep the society good. Don't you prefer to live in a civilized neighborhood or in a ghetto? I'm sure that everyone would prefer a civilized society, where you can leave the door of your house open and nobody comes in. So all of these things are incentives. And now I just want to say that I agree with Simon with what he says, that it's incompatible, because when you make the case that someone else's need, whether it's a need for a loaf of bread or a house or whatever, that need gives them the right to make the claim on my wealth, then you can make any of these claims. As soon as, I don't have shoes, so, Caleb, you need to give me that because I need to have shoes, So it just makes things unfair. It's immoral when you are taking from someone to give to someone else, and it's not voluntary. It's stealing, as Diego was saying.
And yet we will need enough individuals who are motivated either by the incentive, right, or by some kind of sense of do-gooding to make sure that those kids have shoes.
Right, because the alternative is that you hold a gun to their head and say, hey, go ahead and give up the money anyway. And then what are you suggesting? You're basically saying, hey, that's a reasonable way to solve issues.
Yes,
so that's the
what I'm saying is that they would be, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, wouldn't it be best if people understood, that someone doesn't have shoes, I can get them shoes, I want to give them shoes. No one's going to take their shoes from me and distribute them, right? But that a healthy society is one in which more people than less want to give the good kid with no shoes.
So that's the Catholic Church, the greatest organization for donations in the world.
Sure. So it's interesting because I come at this from a religious viewpoint, and at least my mayor's going to disagree.
But you should be Catholic.
Well, it doesn't matter which religion. All religions do charity.
Because
the biggest charity.
Right, but they give charity because it's an obligation. But they give that. But that's the thing. That's exactly what I was going to say. In Judaism at least, right? Giving money and supplies and all kinds of things to those who don't have is not a matter of if you want to or not. It is a religious obligation.
Of the same religion, right?
Well, no, not true.
I'm not going to go there.
He just said it. I didn't say it.
No, Diego. No. Hold on, Diego. It's not, Diego. It has nothing to do with if you're Jewish or not. Those who are in need should be provided for is a matter of religious obligation.
Correct.
But
Hold on, before you go, Simon, I just want to make a point. May I? Caleb, I think that you are almost agreeing with the fact that there needs to be the incentive, right? Or the motivation to do that. So that would go to my first point when I was telling you that an individualistic based or individual focused society will foster that because you are on your own. You are almost obliged to connect to the other people because if you don't, you're screwed.
Yeah, I guess I would frame it up like this is just the golden rule, right? My individual needs are always in conversation with the other people around, right? And the ways that I make the choices about myself, if I'm concerned with, effect, then I might weigh the impact of any decision I might make for myself and how it might affect others. I might or I might not, right? But I think that would be seems to me that would be a healthy way to go about making some of those decisions. I agree that individuals are the ones that do things, right? They're the ones. We're just a bunch of individuals. And I also think that some of these principles.
But you see, like the golden rule already starts with how I should treat other people, whereas
I don't read it that way. I don't read it that way.
That's what it is. Treat others.
No, it isn't.
You treat yourself.
Right, but how do you know how to treat yourself?
That's okay, and that's where morality comes from.
Point.
Right. In other words, because that phrase is not about altruism at my expense. It's about knowing my needs.
At your expense. It's at the expense of myself.
No, that's not what that phrase means. It doesn't. There's nothing There's nothing implying in love your neighbor as yourself the expense to me. No, none.
Correct.
It's physically impossible to treat my neighbor like I would myself. Physically impossible.
Okay, but you know that it's a figurative.
You know that's not what it means. Yeah, you know that's not what it means.
No, that's quite obvious.
And maybe Simon, what if you don't have any neighbors? What if you live in a farm and you don't have any neighbors?
So Simon, where are you coming from? You're coming from a religious question? On the religious text?
He's a capitalist.
Exactly. No, but that's also something that. So Simon is so he's atheist and he doesn't want to take religious arguments as valid when it comes to his conversations, and I fully agree with it. Now, he feels the need to bring in arguments sometimes from a religious perspective to throw it in people's faces, and it doesn't work like that, dude. If you want religion out, you need to keep religion out. The thing about treat your neighbor the same way as you treat yourself, I mean, it's obviously figurative. It's like, don't do to others what you don't want to be done on yourself, something like that. But, I mean, if you take it literal, what if you don't have neighbors, Simon? Who are you going to treat?
So the reason I brought up sort of my own sort of influence from my religious tradition is simply to say that the civics that I get from that tradition tells me that my needs matter, other people's needs matter, and both taking care of myself and taking care of others are a matter of obligation. That I have obligations to myself and I have obligations to others, and it has nothing to do with my desire to help others or even to help myself. It has to do with
one question about your religion and your community. How I mean, you're talking about obligation, and I think I can relate to that, when it comes to a Catholic church, like they make us realize we have an obligation towards our community. But I just want to understand, in the case of Judaism or your specific community, is it imposed to make a specific contribution, or is it just something that within the community you just raise your children like that,
and be responsible for their surroundings. I mean, is this because in Christianity there are churches that they impose a 10%. You know, they oblige people.
Right. So we don't have those systems anymore of sort of national taxation for that. What we have is NGOs and nonprofits that collect money, right? All on a donor basis, voluntary. But the obligation still rests on the individual to give. Nobody's levying
that they made you feel obligated to it. Like, where does this feeling come from? Does this feeling come from a role model who could have been your dad, or does this role model, like, where does it come from?
Well, I think it's two things. Yeah, I think it comes from two places. One is when you learn the laws and you learn how to behave as a Jew, you learn about your obligations, and this is one of them. The other thing is hopefully you have role models who are showing you, and they're actively doing their obligations, right? So, like, you know, from time to time, periodically with my kids, right, we go out to do some kind of project, helping out in the world, right? It's soup kitchen, you know, clean up a trail or whatever, right? And what we say that why do we do that? It's a mitzvah, right? It's a commandment. It is an obligation that helps connect me to the world and to other people. And that's why we do those things. I don't do it just because I want to. I don't do it because it just feels good. And I don't because they need it. I do it because those kinds of interactions with the world and interactions with other people is what creates societies. And I have to do the connecting work. If I don't do the connecting work, I might have...
See, this is coming from an individual initiative. Almost. It's not coming from a collective imposition. I went for 15 years since I was 4 until I was like 18, 13 years to like school. I mean, no religious school. You know, we were all. It was a mix. You know, it was an Austrian school, and we would have also outside of religion. You know, because there was no church involved, we would do. Also things like that, you know, they would take us to an orphanage, and we would 1 day a year or 2 days a year, we would go out and pick up trash, and they would make us realize that what was happening in the world and that there was help that was needed. And so, but this is also again coming from an individual perspective. It is more.
So I would say it like this. All of the individuals have the same obligation, and it is up to the individual to do it or not do it. But the idea of helping the collective, right, and the idea of doing it with a school, with a community, right? You do those things so that that's what I mean by civic education. That's exactly what I mean, right? You teach collectively, and you teach about the power of the individual. And you hope that these will be, you know, ingrained in them, and they will act as good people because we taught them. But that takes place within a community, right? So again, there's this constant interaction between the individual and the collective that is constantly being navigated around, right? The collective is constantly being negotiated.
I think this is deeper, you know, than the economics we're talking about. I mean, of course, economics. Well, no, it's very interlinked, but it's deeper, you know, because let's say, I believe that this obligation comes from the sense of responsibility, right? Of the personal responsibility that there are things that will depend on you because otherwise people will not do them, or you just have to assume that you have some sort of responsibility or obligation towards your environment, your collective, and your society. So, but this comes from the sense of responsibility, now not from the sense of entitlement. And again, I think that an individual focused society fosters that sense of responsibility. A collective focused environment with a lot of benefits, as Maya was saying, it fosters entitlement. Because people don't see the relationship between freedom and responsibility, and that in order to be free and be able to do the things that you want to do and make the choices you want to make, you need to also be responsible for the outcome of those. And so, and I see it in such, I agree with you 100% about the civics. I see it in myself, you know, like here in Switzerland, I don't own a car here. I use the public transport everywhere I go. So when I'm in the train and I don't know, like if it's almost empty, you know, like I sit wherever it is, even if it's like a thing for old people, so I just sit. But as soon as someone comes in the train and I see that they are actually someone that needs to sit more than I do, I just immediately stand up and I offer the seat. This is not the case with the newest generations, you know, they just are entitled to a seat. And you see the old woman, you know, standing there with like barely she can walk and just grabbing herself from
four bags she can stand.
So, you know,
Hey, can I give a third alternative?
No, hold on.
I don't want to
yeah, but I'm just like, oh my god. So you see the difference of entitlement and responsibility. But yeah, that was my point. Go ahead, Diego.
Okay, so here's the third option. All right, it's one in which no donations are necessary, yet everybody benefits. Check this out. My grandfather was a peddler, right? But he used to go and buy you people's used stuff and refurbish it and resell it, right? So let's say that there was some wealthy guy and this table's getting old, and so he puts it out on the street and he's going to pay the city to come and pick it up, right? And I come by, or my grandfather comes and he says, hey, wait a second. How about I take this for you for free? And the guy's like, really? Because I was going to pay $10. And he says, yeah, I'll take it. So now this guy is up $10 that he would have spent had the peddler not come by, right? Then the peddler goes ahead and spends a few bucks. He sands the table down, he repaints it, and then there's a new family who's getting married. They don't have a lot of money. They just bought a house and they need a new table, right? So the peddler comes up to that family and says, hey, I know you were going to spend $20 on a new table. How about you take this one? It looks great. Take it for 10. All right. So now all three parties are up, you know, and have all profited. And everyone was trying to be selfish and save a buck. By the way, that wasn't my grandfather. I learned it from Rabbi Daniel Lapin, but I didn't want to invoke the Jews.
Isa, I think you're making the comparison.
But I don't know how it linked to it.
It doesn't. Isa, I'm not sure that you're setting up the right things as opposites, right? Because I think we do agree that people need civics and people need to have an education that allows them to flourish as an individual, right? So I'm just not sure that the things that you're putting as opposite, right? Because you're putting responsibility and entitlement opposite each other. I'm not sure I think the opposite of responsibility is like apathy, right?
Well,
and so what you're talking about, so I think the lines, the axes that you're drawing are, right, self-sufficiency versus government-provided entitlement programs.
Yeah, but
and then on the other, and then the other axis is, you know, some sense of responsibility versus like a lesser sense of responsibility, and then so there's four quadrants there.
Yeah, what I'm not trying to put responsibility as the opposite of entitlement. I'm just saying that, let's say that the emotion, the feeling, you know, or what will drive the person is either responsibility or entitlement. I'm not saying that they're opposite, but it's what will drive the person's actions. You know, like when you are expecting to receive something from the government without doing any effort, that makes you entitled. You feel entitled to your rights, your freedom, whatever, but you have no obligations. You know, you feel entitled to the monthly checks coming from the government, but you don't feel like you need to be responsible to go and look for a job. Now, when you're not getting any help, you're not entitled anymore. You are responsible, because if you're not, you're dead. You end up in the street. So it almost makes you have to go for that. Does it make sense?
Well, I think the moment you have individual rights, you completely lost any obligation you have to people. I think individual rights excludes the obligation. That's the entire point. Like, I'm not saying don't have a benevolent view of other human beings. like, don't not help people, but I'm saying, politically speaking, no, it isn't.
You said don't not.
Yes, don't not help people, like help.
What are you actually asking us to do?
Don't offend Diego's grammatical sensibilities.
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying, like, just help
It is
people.
just necessary for this, Diego. We know it's grammatically incorrect.
Okay, anyways. Like, my point is...
But he's not asking us to do anything. He's just saying, avoid not doing things. What?
Yeah, I'm saying, exactly, avoid not helping people.
How do you do that? By helping people? Why don't you just say that?
By helping people. Yes, by helping
Why don't you just say help people? Why don't you just say help people?
Okay, why are we sticking on this?
Because he's saying that the premise is that people will not want help. And so he's saying...
And people have a horrible view of
No, but if he says don't not, he means that we should. So why doesn't he just say it as a moral principle? You should help people. That's what Caleb's been saying.
Yes, yeah, we should help people. Have an obligation. Yeah, I'm saying, and that's why I said.
But you're trying to remain an objectivist while saying this contradictory thing, because you're afraid.
Saying don't not help people is basically saying help people.
Right, but so you talk in these language games because you want to avoid saying the thing. You're the language game guy.
Help people if you have a good. Yeah, we should help people. We should absolutely should. If you have a good view of your life.
He saw I won. He's not an objectivist anymore.
Yeah, no, that's definitely not gonna happen. But if you have a good view of your own life, then you have a good understanding of what life consists of, then I don't want to see people suffer. I don't want to see like other people do bad. That's why like anybody who knows me like in real life knows like if I can help you in any capacity, I go 100% for that.
You could get $50,000.
Why is it
with no obligation to repay?
That's right, exactly.
Oh, it's your old story.
Yeah, that's the old altruist in me. But anyways, my point is, if you have a good view of life just in general and life for yourself, then you should want to just help people. That doesn't mean at the expense of myself. It just means to want a better life for human beings in general. That's why I would give charity. I'd give to people to go to school. I'd give to like wherever I can if it produces the type of world that I want to see. And that's it.
Do you agree that if you could help two people and you can only help one, then you would help one at the expense of the other?
What do you mean at the expense of someone? Like me not giving money to someone else is not at their expense.
No, but if your choices are between two people and you opt for one, then the cost of helping one is not being able to help the other.
Yeah, you cannot help everyone.
It's not at their expense, it's at your expense.
No. How does that make
sense? It's at somebody's expense, motherfucker.
It's not at my expense.
You can't make money out of nothing. You can't help one person without avoiding doing something else,
where
right?
are you going with this, dude?
He's going
nowhere. No, I'm trying to explain to him because he says you shouldn't do things at your own expense. It's like, well, is there any other way to coherently say the matter? Like, yes, it is at your expense.
Okay.
That's why, even though I don't agree with Caleb,
Choice of two people.
Here's my whole thing. I 100% agree with Caleb. I think that Issa agrees with Caleb. It sounds like Simon agrees with Caleb. The only difference between Caleb and myself is that at some point, and this has to do with a knowledge of economics, he believes that someone down the line who doesn't want to help anybody, the hermit, should be forced to help, right, against his will, and that will create more prosperity. And that's where the economics thing kicks in and says, no, actually it won't, right? Because where the peddler benefits both parties, right, like he benefits himself and the other party also makes money, when you force people to do things, you benefit and they lose. They don't benefit as well. That's the problem when you don't do voluntary trades, you know? I repeat myself, all trades are voluntary.
Yeah, just to amend that, I think you strawmanned me a little bit. that when systems break down and people are not giving, then there has to be a way to course correct that. And I wouldn't jump. Well, somebody has to. Well, I think there's a couple things. One is it can be very slow, and you can have a re-education process, and that'll take a generation or two to correct. Right? The other way, which is quicker, is force people. Now the question is do you reset it afterwards? Right? If you take from the wealthy guy to give to the poor person, right? At what point do you stop you have to have an end game to that, because it was a short-term course correction that you were trying to address, not a long-term strategy. Right? So again, I'm down to the
societal my principles when I really need to. Is that what you're saying?
Excuse me?
I only violate my principles under extraordinary circumstances, I think is what you're trying to say.
That's everybody. No, it's not unique. By itself. Everybody does that. Everybody has a limit.
Well, that's a test that Isa has tried to instill and lost. But she also believes the same thing, that everybody has a limit, everybody has a breaking point. Some people live by the principles or die. You know? Just not anybody in this room.
There are many principles I would die for. There are many principles I would be willing to die for, Diego. So.
But not for society.
No, I'm not.
Well, it depends.
For Diego.
For society, you would definitely force someone as a course correction, right?
Again, we would have to look at individual cases about what are we correcting, right? And then we would have to analyze sort of how effective was that course correction. But none of this was in a vacuum. There were like real people out there.
Yeah.
But we have to think about the real people.
We also have to think about the principles.
Principles are only as good as they are applied.
Well, no, principles.
See, Simon?
You need to be able to stand up for your principles when it doesn't make sense, or no, it doesn't make sense, but when it's difficult to do, because otherwise, just don't bother having principles. So if you have a principle of do not steal,
do no harm, like Austrian.
Do not steal. It's like, okay, your principle is based on the fact that you believe that you have a respect for private property and you're not going to be in favor of anybody coming and taking your private property, but you're not going to take anybody else's private property. So the moment you introduce an object that goes against that principle, even if it makes sense in terms of like virtue or charity or whatever it is, the moment that that principle of yours is being attacked, you stand up for it and you say, no, this goes against my principle of do not steal, and I'm not going to do that. So for example, taxes, right? I understand that. I mean, what we're talking here is just pure intellectual exercise, because right now the reality is what it is, and we adapt to it, and we are born into some sort of social contract, and we cannot just reverse things and burn it all and start from scratch. But the way that our brains work is by being consistent with our principles, right? And so that's the only reason why, for example, I do not believe that taxes are moral, or that Simon believes that taxes are moral, or Diego, is because they go against the principle of private property and do not steal. The same reason why, for example, I am against abortion, because I do believe in the right of life, and nobody is able, whether you're outside of the womb or not yet, to take that life away from you because it's a different DNA code. But that's another topic. But so
Ayn Rand is pro-choice. Did you know that?
I know, but I'm not a Randian. I'm not an objective.
Not surprising.
I do like Ayn Rand,
but I do disagree with her in a few points. Like, for example, we were talking about the other day, Kayla, when she believes that morality, there is a standard, there is an objective morality. I disagree with that. I believe that there's an objective reality, but not an objective morality. But anyway, that's another conversation. But yeah, so I'm just talking about the principles and trying to make a point that.
Isa, you're a relativist?
I'm not no, we're not gonna deviate right now. We're talking about principles.
No, I mean,
but I'm not a relativist.
Yes, that is what she said. Yes.
But
no, I am.
A person who thinks that there's objective reality thinks that there's no objective morality.
I believe there is an objective morality. Objective reality. I believe that morality can be different for different people. Exactly, based on what they value. Based on what they value in their lives. Based on what value.
Stance itself is.
Andre, you asked me a question.
I'm just
You're
saying,
right,
my opinion, it's inconsistent. Like the.
Okay, but you asked me a question. I was responding.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, so values are different for every person. You cannot expect that. For example, in the case of Ayn Rand, she puts the relative morality. The objective morality. She bases it on the value for life. Like, you cannot expect everyone to value life in the same way, not even your own. And so we act according to those things that we're pursuing or that are of value to us, even if that means killing myself. Ayn Rand would claim that that is immoral, but to me, if that, let's say I am in a lot of pain or whatever, and my body is the most private property that I have, and it's gonna, I don't know, I'm gonna do something good, I'm gonna achieve something good with killing myself, I am completely entitled to do that. And so,
the position is self-preservation at all costs.
This is Simon right now, my PTR.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that is fucking facts. Oh my
God.
God.
I don't care, but I would be pursuing my own objective, which as an individual I have the right to do, because I am valuing something differently than you do, and that is okay.
I mean, it's okay.
Well, I mean,
that's okay. It's okay to be wrong.
The position.
No, it is okay because I'm not trumping on your rights.
That's such a
don't be saying you're wrong. No, hold on. That's not what the.
Just wrote it.
Yeah, the position is not like self-preservation at all costs, and if you kill yourself, you're immoral. The entire point is, if you want to live, you must value. So only the concept of life brings the concept of value to any significant meaning. So if you want to value something, you have to figure out what those values are in order to sustain your life. So, like, if reality is objective, and because you're a being that must pursue values in order to sustain your life, then the standards to which you evaluate your choices and actions should be to figure out what those good values are that would sustain your life, as opposed to the bad values which would destroy your life. So the objectivity is everything that keeps you alive is the good. Everything that helps you be a good human being is the good.
That sounds
How is that
relativistic.
relative?
Okay, so let's say that stealing keeps you alive, then that's the value that you should aim at?
If the what?
It's better to.
If stealing keeps you alive, or killing people keeps you alive.
Okay, so that.
Or raping
get a
people
little
keeps
more
you alive. Just
nuanced.
keep going.
Hold on. Well, raping people doesn't keep you alive. I mean, that's.
I mean, one day. The Palestinians have raped
already, you know that you've ended up in an irrational contradiction in your own, like in the moral position, because if I know that which seeks to threaten or destroy my life is the bad, then you've already rationalized the good away to accepting the bad.
If you demoralize your enemy by raping them, it might keep you alive.
demoralization. Why are they my enemy? Why are they my enemy? But why are they my enemy?
Well, now you're asking a different question. I mean.
Well, no. You brought in a lot of nuance.
Let's just say they hate me for who I am.
Okay. Did they initiate force on me?
Sure. Let's say that they initiated force on me.
Okay. So then, what you're saying is I can't stand up for myself.
Well, you can stand up for yourself, but let's say that raping is that extra step that's going to make you win the war.
Okay. Yeah. So what Simon I think is saying is, as soon as life is the most basic value, period, full stop. When the other person forgoes that value, they take themselves outside of that equation. They put themselves outside of the moral landscape that you used to be on. So now that the person doesn't value life anymore, his life is of no value either.
Correct. I agree with that.
I'm just trying to steelman what he's saying.
I'm just a syntax Nazi.
Yeah, which is
what if his death was of value to someone and he is willing to give up his life for something bigger than himself? Like, for example,
Jesus.
His country. No. His country.
A father?
No, but guys, so here's a very interesting point, right? The only reason why we value those kind of acts of valor or self-sacrifice is because we value it against life. When the person willing to forgo the most important, or sacrifice it in the name of something else, that seems to us even more valuable, because look at that. The person gave up the most valuable thing for something else. It must be of a greater value, or at least equal to.
Listen, I do agree with you, and I think that the value of life is universal. And I have always said this, and I have said something kind of like in the lines of what you're saying. So even the civilizations that had human sacrifice, they are valuing life, bringing that life to the gods, right? So regardless of how you see it, they're still valuing life, right? So, but my point is not questioning the value of life. My point is questioning in the ranking of values of your own personal values. How do you value life? Sometimes you value more life than money. Sometimes it's the other way. It's and I know it can be stupid, because without life you cannot have money, right? So
exactly.
Correct.
It's the
but
most fundamental.
Ultimately,
You cannot have value, period, without.
I understand the objectivity in looking at this, but then the way a person acts and the way a person makes decisions will tell you what they're valuing more in that moment.
Yeah, but they can be wrong as well.
That's fine. I am not talking about right or wrong. I am talking about the subjective value of things.
But that's okay. So as soon as we talk about ethics or morals, we talk about the right and the wrong. We talk about normatives, and in different permutations, whether it's where it's we're talking about more.
It has to be part of the argument.
Morality.
That's what that means. A normative value is something that has to be part of the argument itself.
What did you say?
I'm saying that it has to be part of the argument itself.
Maybe it's me. Maybe it's
it's you. We cannot hear. We can hear very well.
Okay, sorry.
Are you back?
Yeah. So I was. Wait. What were we talking about? The values.
No.
Yeah,
we were talking about
normative
values.
Oh yeah. So as soon as we start talking about morality, we started to talk about differentiation between right and wrong. What is good and what is bad. What is better or worse. So just to say that everybody has different values, okay, that's a trivial thing to say. I don't think anybody would argue with it. But I think the question that we're more interested in, whose values are better. Don't you think so?
It depends. For whom?
No, the question is whose values are correct. See, that's the difference.
You're right. Whose values are correct.
And so how do we define what is correct? How are we measuring that? Is it based on which values bring more
The law of
wealth or more
non-contradiction.
flourishing?
Vote on it.
More
No, it's
advanced?
based on-
No, fuck democracy.
It's based on the law of non-contradiction. That's how they decide.
Too bad he said we're not going to tell you what to think. We're going to wait for you to tell us what to tell you what to think.
That's
This is it's based on your ultimate value, which is life itself. When you measure how healthy is a person as opposed to how unhealthy is a person, and we can say, oh, if the objective for human beings is to live longer so that they can continue chasing their values, then what are
But the
what
objective,
are the things?
but why are you assuming that the objective of everyone is to live longer?
Well, okay, wait, hold on.
It's not about
Let me address this.
It's about
Let me address
living in
this.
general.
Simon's not making a good objectivist argument.
No,
Here's
it's
the
not.
objectivist argument using what Andre brought up, right? Normative values. One cannot engage in a debate in which they're going to assert the position that life is more valuable than death, and unless the debating partner assumes that value as well, because if they don't, then there's no debate to have anymore. Do you understand? That's why normative values and arguments are necessary, and that's how objectivists look at it. Simon is not a good objectivist, so he doesn't know how to articulate this point, but I think that's what he's trying to say. You cannot say,
I went into the matrix for 2 seconds and I missed what you were saying.
Okay, you cannot argue, okay, with another person, a position that life is.
Okay. You guys?
Well, he did
Okay,
the
can you
first
repeat
time,
what
but
you
the second
said?
time, no, he was screaming.
Okay, so the objectivist way of formulating the position is that when a person engages in an argument with another person, there are normative values that are necessary by definition for the debate to take place. One of those is valuing life over death, obviously, because if...
I can't hear you. I don't know.
All right. Never mind.
No, I think it's.
We can hear him. I don't know.
Really? Is it me?
Yeah, it's on your end.
Yeah, it's you. I heard him.
Oh, well, then this is God trying to prevent me from listening
Yeah,
to you,
that's
so I'm
what it
just gonna go with it, yeah. I don't care, whatever you said.
Do you agree with me though, Andre?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you. And see, I think to me, this is why I kind of switched to the moral naturalist stance, because I think those are discoverable, and if everybody can just look at the things and try to deduct what is, the most effective way of living, and we can both agree on what type of values we can have as our base. So I think naturalist way provides a good foundation.
So the argumentation style that I'm talking about is called argumentation ethics, and it was developed by an objectivist named Hans Hermann Hoppe.
Okay, so 1 second, Andre, I like the way that you explain things, and I agree with you 100% of what you're saying. So where is it that between my thinking and what you're saying, where is it that I just crashed? I mean, apart from being a woman. What?
No. I think you're taking the fact that there is plurality of different opinions in the way to act, and assigning that as if that is all good and dandy. Okay, like we all have different strategies of how to survive and how to live. Some strategies are better than others, and so as soon as we discover a better strategy, we try to adopt it. So to say that morals are relativist is to say that any, and this is a very important word, any strategy is good or good enough. And I disagree with that statement. I don't think that any of them. I think there's only one, and we're just trying to figure out which one is the best.
Okay, I need to think about this because there is some, I don't know, I have like two arguments in my head that are conflicting. So on one side, for example, I believe that, value, not values. Value is subjective. and you attribute value depending on what you have more interest in. Now, let me try to think where I was going.
Because you're talking about economic value, not moral value.
Yeah, I'm losing you, Diego. I don't know why I cannot hear you.
He said you're talking about economic value and not actual moral values, which is absolutely correct.
Moral values are objective. Economic values are subjective. There's a difference between the two.
Okay, but then why? So when we talk about moral values, okay, so all right, I think I'm getting there. I'm trying to think, for example,
the reason that we say values are subjective, Isa, is because the science of economics argues in a manner that is value free, but that doesn't make the decisions that people make free from an objective moral determination. Like you can still analyze it objectively, but not in the science of economics, because the science of economics is like the science of mathematics. It doesn't matter what particular input you put in. It's about studying the functions of the interrelations between things.
What will allow you to continue to value?
No, I get that. And listen, I have always said, that's the reason why I'm conflicting right now, because I have always said and believed that, for example, life is a universal value, right? For what I said before, that even if you are a society or a civilization that sacrifices humans, then you're still valuing life because you're offering the most valuable thing that you have to that a society that doesn't value life is doomed to disappear,
Yes.
to fail. So now, so let's say we all are for abortion. Well, I mean, like people are killing their own, so you will in the end stop existing. Now, I think that where I am conflicting is when I give, for example, the thing about suicide, right? Like the I'm going to kill myself. So we're talking also about life, but I think that what I am doing here and what the reason why I'm conflicting is because in that case, I might be, and let me if it makes sense, I might be treating that life as a matter of market choices rather than as a value itself. And what's convenient to me in that moment rather than as a value, fundamental value.
Okay, so this is why I think it will be helpful if you think of it as the most basic currency value, because everything gets compared to it. Like, so when you say, for example, there's a society that sacrifices its own to the gods, and that's bizarre and kind of not awe-inspiring, but it's very shocking. The shock value comes from you saying, okay, so if life is the most important thing and those people are willing to take this away because they have something else that they value even more than that, that is shocking. So in the moment, when you're making those type of value judgments, that's what you're comparing it to. And that also points to the fact that, life is the most basic, most fundamental value that we compare everything to.
Yeah, that is a word I like. It is fundamental. It's not that necessarily I value it the way that you value it, but it's just fundamental in order to achieve anything else.
Yeah, I think as soon as you recognize it as a fundamental and you start kind of seeing how everything gets compared to it, and this is why we look at the heroism the way we look at it, and we look at the people who are sacrificial the way we look at it, the way we judge them. You start understanding the psychology behind it, and you start understanding the whole calculus of comparing things to each other. And I think it builds upon itself the whole argument for private property and the having property of your own body and valuing your children and valuing your family and building up from the most basic unit outward. So as life is the most fundamental value, you're building outward from it, and you're adding, other markers that, that change your perhaps attitude at times, but you're still comparing to the most fundamental.
I think one of my problems is that I am spending too much time listening to Simon, and it's just confusing me more. Oh, yeah, because
I think, hey, Isa, can you hear me okay?
yeah, you can hear me.
I think Simon, what's difficult about Simon's take is that it's very, very, very extreme. It's the 100th
Objective is extreme,
percentile.
yeah.
It's the 100th percentile of individualism, right? It could be argued it's the most
Well, I'm more
selfish.
extreme than he is.
Unless you can argue that otherwise, you could argue that, well, me being selfish in this way actually benefits you, whether or not you believe it does, right? Like, that's the only argument you can make that it's not the most selfish take. At the same time, it's not it would never work. It ultimately wouldn't work because human beings are greedy. It won't work because people retain more resources
That's exactly
than
why
they
it
ever
will work.
need. No, it's not. No, it's not true. Hang on. Let me finish, please. The problem with it, as it expands and as we see the wealth gap increase all around the world, is that we're finding out that people with trillions of dollars.
And what's wrong with that?
Diego, we're seeing people hoarding resources who are not altruistic. They're not willing to like you argue. Like, basically, it's in your best interest to make the people around you better for your own good. Who wants to live in a slum? I just read an article that rich people are just building reinforced bunkers. They're not only building bunkers now, they're building entire homes that are hundreds of millions of dollars that are basically giant safes to protect their own bodies. When people start doing that and they hoard resources, what's that?
But if they're doing it with their own resources, and
I get it, but my point is they're turning inward and protecting their own best interests, and they're not helping others at all to make.
But see, this is the part.
They're walking away from society instead of.
But this is the part. This is the part where an economic education would change your perspective, right? If a rich person hoards resources,
it's not going to change trillionaires from wanting 7 trillion when they can't even spend 1 trillion.
Okay, Mike, hold on. Let me just finish that. Let me just land this plane. If a trillionaire, like let's say Elon Musk, goes from having $1 trillion in his bank account to $7 trillion, that's $6 trillion that are not putting a demand on resources that otherwise would be out. On things, which raises the price.
I can't hear you.
Oh, so it was him. I didn't say anything because I thought it was me.
Sorry. Let me say that one more time. I don't know why it dropped out. I'm not moving. Okay, so when a rich person goes from having $1 trillion in their bank account to having $7 trillion, that's $6 trillion that they have removed from the money supply. Am I gone again?
No, we can hear you.
Okay.
Shit.
When a rich person saves money, that's money that isn't putting a demand on products and raising the price, making everyone effectively poorer. When you want to take money from rich people and distribute it, but actually,
you're gone again. You're gone.
Well, then the app is crashing.
I restarted my app because it only happens with Diego. Diego, I think that they're going
It's
to.
monitoring the actual particular things that he's trying to say.
Oh my God, Mike.
Yeah, now I'm hearing Mike.
Now, Mike, you sound terrible. I don't know what happened to your microphone.
Do we have a solar eclipse or what?
Can you hear me now?
You sound like your microphone is like this.
Solar flare. Solar eclipse wouldn't make any sense. Why is Simon?
Sorry, solar flare, yes.
That's flat earther guy. They don't understand.
I'm a flat earther, right? But you guys will get what I'm saying. When people save, it removes the demand on things, which lowers the price, right? You understand that?
Yeah.
When people put a demand on things, right? When you make it illegal to save, or you plunder from rich people, you just make everybody else poorer, actually, but not nominally.
Well, I don't know if that's true, but what the point here is, first of all, we have to talk about morals. Taking from someone that was successful is immoral, regardless of what your intention are. Second of all, we have to understand that when you talk about the wealth grabbing creature, that's only because a few people have gotten so rich, the wealth gap is increasing. This is the misunderstanding of averages between me, Modi, and the median. The median has gone up. The standard of living for all of the developed world has gone up, and half the planet has came out of abject poverty. And that has been a tremendous improvement over years past. For most of human history, people have been living hand to mouth, literally. They were like,
by the way, Meyer, I just want to say really quickly, just for a pause, I'll let you finish. I just want to say there are solar flares occurring right now and throughout the weekend. That's all I want to say. So.
Cool. So
use intervention.
So this is all positive development. Now, when you're talking, people are talking about the wealth gap is increasing. That's because a few people, like Jeff Bezos, have made such a great product that we all use and we all keep giving him our money, only because he has made all our lives better. That it used to be like you have to be in an elite level to have someone get to the store, buy your object for you, and return it. We got so used to things showing up on our doorstep, we forget what a luxury that is. So the point here is, when having each person work for their individualism, they might build a wall around their community because they want, like Beverly Hills walled in, but they're paying someone to manicure their lawns, they're paying someone to build those walls, they're paying someone to deliver their goods and all the luxury delivering goods. That's all trickling into the economy. You say they're hoarding resources, that may be true for a while, but the way they got to hoard the resources is by building something that all of us want so badly, we're willing to pay and make our lives better, all voluntarily. Like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos would not have became billionaires if they wouldn't have created a product that we want.
And they wouldn't have become,
this man is right.
They wouldn't have become millionaires if they had hoarded all their wealth.
Yeah, you cannot hoard yourself.
That's exactly how you become a millionaire.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
If you don't hoard your wealth, then you'll never have $1 million. I don't get what the problem here is.
No, but you need to make it work for you. You can't just sit on the money.
What do you mean? It generates interest. That's how it works.
No, it's not.
Meyer, I don't.
They didn't make billions off interest.
Interest rates are shit, man.
Look at Amazon. Amazon lost money for the first couple of years of its existence. They had to keep borrowing and spending and going broke until they finally were able to make it. Microsoft as well. It wasn't an overnight success. I have to look at the history of PayPal, how Elon Musk made his original money, how quickly.
By not having a license.
He was also a founder of PayPal, but Tesla was also losing on the, his original money.
Tesla lost a lot of money, but that was after he was already wealthy enough to do it. The Boring Company lost a lot of money in its beginning. Even SpaceX took a long time. I mean, I still don't know if SpaceX is positive.
Hey, I don't mean to change the subject, but did you guys see the Elon's daughter or son? I'm not really sure how to refer. Disavowing him and saying he's lying.
It's a son who became transgender, and he brought it up with Jordan Peterson about that whole ideology and how he was basically fooled into allowing that process to take place. Elon Musk was talking about it. And that he lost his son basically, and then his son came out and completely disavowed him, he wants nothing to do with it.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh well, I hope that he doesn't want to do anything with his millions either.
No, I think he's an idealist, that individual.
Of course, he's brainwashed. That's a lot of the society at the moment.
See, Isa, that's why values are not as important as reality, because, values are subject to reality.
No, but reality is very important because reality is what actually is the most objective thing. A penis is reality, and so a woman. A woman. Hold on. Let me finish what I was trying to say. A penis is a reality, and that's what makes. Yeah, Daniel came right in the moment, and the big moment.
I mean, get everything
right. And that's what makes you a man. So that is reality. I cannot be a man. because I don't have a penis. Okay?
But you have penis
So-
envy.
No, what? Oh my God, you're triggering me. You know that is that. You right now you brought me into a dark place. Diego, hold on, Andres. You brought me into a dark place, Diego. Hold on. Diego, you just brought me right now. My stomach, I felt like a punch. You know, like Thomas used to say that to me that I had.
Oh man, I didn't know that. For the record.
Are you
That's a fucking loser. Anyway. Yeah, I don't have penis envy.
So
Patrick in the chat says fake news. Issa tells people to suck her dick. Ever the contributor.
Wait, but can I just exploring that Elon Musk child thing? Do you guys find that
I never said that. I have never said that. Honestly, no, hold on. I need to make this clarification. I have never said that. I've heard that when people are fighting, especially like in the Black community rooms. I have never said anything like that. So, no, that's not true. Anyway, go on. Sorry. I just needed to make that remark.
Don't you guys find that the typical creation of a leftist in modern America is someone who was born affluent?
Is Diego talking?
Yes.
You're talking about like.
Yeah. Shit, I can't hear anything.
Privileged set of beliefs that they
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear everyone but Diego. I think.
Oh, lucky.
Your prayers are answered.
That's the setting you say.
It's God. No, it's God. You
It's a
don't believe in
feature.
God?
It's not a bug, it's a
This is
feature.
God.
It's not a bug, it's a feature.
That's absolutely correct.
So Daniel, I heard you went up against Sam last night.
Yeah, well, it broke waves, I understand. Like,
Yeah, and I was caught in the
in the crossfire.
The crossfire.
So Diego, were you talking about the luxury?
One guy, you were telling me that you were both said that, by the way. Isa, is this the smart guy you were talking about? The other one, Isa, is this the guy that you say was smart? Doesn't seem that smart.
Well, that was a mistake, I told you.
Are you talking about the luxury beliefs with the leftists? Is that what you're talking?
What do you mean luxury?
I'm saying that I find that what makes people leftists is usually people that don't have to work for like very hard to have, basic subsistence level shit. I think that they don't really it's like the daughter of Elon Musk. It's very easy for them not to care about getting access to Elon's money because the mother's taken care of through alimony. Right? Like she's always going to have money, so of course it's easy to disavow.
I mean, it's a pet. I would say it's a patchwork.
Diego, leave the app, Diego, and just come back and see if she can listen to you afterward.
Please. It's just so weird. Like, I keep seeing the ring around his PTR, but I cannot hear anything he's saying.
How's that?
But all of you are. It's just weird.
Can you hear him now, Issa?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can't hear you. I mean, I hear you, but then all of a sudden you disappear and just your ring stays there and I can't hear anything. It's just weird.
That happens to me and Josh when we're singing sometimes. It may be the settings between the, I don't know.
Yeah, it's the first time it happens to me with Diego, but go ahead.
No, I was just saying that I think that there's a correlation between how well off you were raised and your socialist tendencies, your views about how much people should be forced to give to the government and how many things should be free and available for other people. It tends to be correlated to how much money you were raised with.
I mean, I would push against this because I think it's a patchwork of different types of people. Some of them are just losers or have-nots who are jealous and see the only way of getting on top is changing the whole social structure. Because I mean, essentially, that's what they are rooting for. With all of those revolutions, we can see it in practicality. when those revolutions happen, it just creates a different type of social hierarchy with the vanguard on top and then the proletariat at the bottom. But it doesn't really change much in terms of power structure. It just kind of puts people who are at the bottom to the top and vice versa.
You know what?
No,
I agree with Diego because as soon as my brother started paying taxes, he became a conservative. Funny how that works. All his life he never worked. As soon as he started working, he finally understood what I was saying all along. It's crazy how that works.
No, but there's a lot of people who are who think of themselves as untapped geniuses, right? Who are so good, so smart, so wonderful.
If they were geniuses,
so
they'd be rich, bro.
So creative.
No, I was gonna say, are you talking about some? I was gonna say.
But it's the society that holds them back and holds them down. And so it's not that they need to change themselves; they need to change the society in order to fit their,
I mean, we do live in a fucked up society, real talk.
But newsflash, if you're not winning in society, it's just...
Yeah, Hampton should be a YouTube star.
I am. Well, I mean, I have over 20,000 subscribers, but that's not about me. But I'm just saying, like, if we live in, like, what is the saying? To be sane in a sick society, you can't. It's really hard to be sane in a sick society. We live in a fucked up world.
Hampton, put up your link so I can subscribe to you and share it to my friends.
Okay.
I'm not even joking. I want people to win.
That's why I support Hampton.
Yes, Simon is the long
because I have a benevolent view of human beings.
Simon's like, I'm not bad. I was just born into this thing.
That's right.
So here's the question: how much does individualism is your responsibility predicating on the society you live in, predicated on the religion that you have taught? How much of individualism is yours and you're responsible for, and how much is society religion responsible for?
Well, individualism is an achievement. Individualism is an achievement that has to be recognized by human beings in order to have that sort of society. Now, if you don't have a view that like people should be free, that's why I always tell people the number one political value when living in society should be freedom, and you should understand why you should be free, and you should understand why people should be free, and then respect people's rights as a result of that.
But you also need to understand what freedom is in order to actually be free, because freedom is not just I will do whatever I want, but I will be responsible for the outcome of the choices I make. So you're free to make choices, but you have to be accountable for the result of those choices, whether they were positive or negative. You have the freedom to make mistakes, but you have the obligation to take care of that responsibility when you make those mistakes.
That's right.
Does society share any of that responsibility? Because when
No, but that's the thing. Society shouldn't.
You're a grown-ass man.
You are the one that.
Society is not the standard for anyone.
Hold on, you as an individual are the one that has to take care of the choices that you make. So if you make bad choices, the responsibility lies with you, dude, not with the rest of us.
I got it. But when you're young and great,
that's your parents.
Okay, wait. So they're giving you values, directions, and beliefs, so that you didn't have on your own. So now you've been living by your parents' values, directions, education, and beliefs. How much do they owe some responsibility to your individual act?
Yeah.
You're the responsibility of your parents. I'm not the responsibility of you. And if they raised you incorrectly,
I ain't your daddy, Leroy.
Hold on. And if they raised you incorrectly and with the wrong values, that's not my problem.
When did Issa's daddy?
Okay.
When
do the young person?
Not yet.
At what age?
What Leroy is arguing is structuralism. He's saying that everything, all the values that you have, all the choices that you make, are necessarily our product of the society that you live in. The problem with structuralism is that the fundamental question of where did those values come from, they cannot answer it because they they have to sort of fall back into this, semi-mystical idea of structures existing on their own,
Absolutely.
and creating things on their own, which is bizarre and it's
Right. So
I
exactly.
sometimes love Andre so much when he talks about
exactly. Everybody.
things.
So
Leroy, stop dreaming about the rain god, man.
And Leroy, nobody's gonna give you shit for free.
No, you missing the
You
point.
need to
There
start on
you
your
go
own,
again.
Leroy.
There you go again. There
No
you go again.
reparations.
So if there's structuralism that exists in a society, we know it exists because we're governed by it, by the laws, right? So that's clear that structuralism is there, right? And sometimes structuralism favors.
No, we said it isn't, man.
Wait a second. What law do you want to change, Leroy, so you can become rich?
Yeah, so his misery is our
What do you say?
It's even more fundamental.
What is he saying? I don't hear him. What is your question?
I wanted to say.
Well, if you don't scream over him, you might hear him.
Leroy, I wanted to say, what law do you want to change so you become equitable and rich? What law do you want to change?
Oh my God, there's lots of laws that can be changed.
Give us two. Give us two.
Redlining at the bank. Discrimination of not. Wait.
That's illegal.
Wait.
Even if I am a bad guy.
No,
Okay,
he
so
wants
listen.
to abolish that making it illegal, which is quite.
He hates credit scores.
No, I want.
It's illegal to redline. You want to abolish
I want it to be right.
What is your credit score, Leroy?
Oh, why? You're interested in marriage me?
No,
Because
I'm joking. You don't have to say it. I was just. I just wanted a reaction.
I got it.
Let's just say it's not pretty. It's not pretty.
Redlining is like the.
No, listen.
You don't have this today.
We know that there's certain laws that is structural that makes a difference on what a person individualistic walk in life is, right? Because you just got to mention Elon Musk. Elon Musk. No. Elon Musk's son born into wealth, so therefore he's not going to have too much of a worry when it comes to access.
And yet he's
Sounds like Donald Trump.
And
Oh my God.
yet he's a moron.
Wait. So his individualism is very different from somebody who's born into poverty.
No.
That's true.
No, but I think there is something to be said about.
It is true, but so what do you want us to do about it?
I mean, acknowledge that it's a factor. Don't sit and be like, everybody got what they got, and it's all fair. And if you screw up in life, it's because you're.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a factor. It's good to acknowledge it's a fact.
Leroy, no one is born. No one has the exact same foundation. Even two twin brothers that are born in the same house from the same parents and are being given the same food will have different outcomes in life because they are not absorbing reality in the same way. They are not reading the same things. They're having different conversations on their own, and their mentality and their mindset will be different from each other. So how exactly is it that you propose that we fix the problem you're presenting?
Well, guess what?
There is no problem to fix, though.
But it's not, I guess what I'm saying, I think there's a point to be made about Obama's you didn't build that, even though he worded that very wrong. But basically what he was saying is in order to have a successful business, you're benefiting off the infrastructure that was already placed there.
Right.
That enabled you to have your business. You get what I'm saying?
But that infrastructure is called capitalism. That's the infrastructure he's talking
about.
But
they don't want you to fix that.
The roads funded and built by the government, the space stuff we get from NASA and the space program. There's so many technologies we get from the space program and NASA, which are funded by the government. Yeah, but it's still funded by the government that we benefit from, like the internet. The internet is something that is.
Hold on. Let Hampton finish. Good.
Yeah, like come on. The whole thing is there's a lot of things that people that are very successful in the private sector that they've gotten because they have utilized the public sector, the government spending, the infrastructure that was already there.
Because it wouldn't have happened otherwise, right, Hampton?
So I'm just saying, it's not like they just, It should be, y'all just need to acknowledge it. I feel like y'all don't acknowledge it and don't want to
Wait,
make
what do you
y'all
want,
uncomfortable.
what do you want to acknowledge? That the government.
Okay, Jules.
No, what I'm saying, acknowledge the fact that people
That
that are
it's a miracle,
successful
and I
a
want
lot
you
of
to
the
acknowledge
time,
it.
sometimes, a lot of the times, often than not, being successful depends on luck more than anything. A lot of the times in life.
Exactly, it's miraculous.
Not
First of all,
But I think we need to just.
Capitalism explains.
Oh my God.
Capitalism intrinsically is an exploitive system, no doubt about it.
Okay. Oh my God. This is just.
Yes, it is.
If you want.
Okay, I'm not gonna listen to it. We're talking.
Every system is exploitive in its own way. So capitalism is the least exploitive. Let's put it this
No,
way.
I mean capitalism doesn't.
What the hell
There's
would
nothing.
you prefer communism with gulags and bullshit?
No, but I don't even.
I will defund the same government infrastructures that those people that they benefited from.
There's a lot of gay
I noticed a lot of times the boomers that have benefited from the post-war big expansion of the government, big government spending, they got up the ladder and they're kicking the ladder out from under them, and it's messed up. It's really messed up. They're trying to cut the things that they benefited from.
That with socialism, they would bring him up, and he would be richest, than the people right now. But that's
I'm
not
talking about the levels of
because socialism makes everyone equal, but equally poor, not equally rich.
No, I'm talking about access to education and stuff like that. The funding of the education system, the GI Bill, for example, the government spending
Let me ask you a question, Hampton. Why do you want education if you, under your system, will not be able to actually flourish individually? What does education do for you if you're just going to be the same like everyone?
That said you can't flourish independently. Everyone has the same access to education.
But you already have access to Hampton.
There's not just rich kids that get to go to the nice schools and colleges. Even before, right? Colleges used to be for the elite. Colleges used to be for the elite. Now it's more of a mainstream thing. Having an educated population is better than having a two-tiered system where people don't know shit.
And it has only served to screw the society.
To have an educated populace.
It's a level playing field. It makes it possible for everybody to be on a level as opposed to one.
In order to compete.
Right. That's the key. That's more fair to the individual and to the group when everybody has a level playing field.
But in America, every child
go to college because if your parents can afford it or you can afford it, I think you should be able to go to college and get higher education because you strictly want to, and it's a principle and a value thing. It's not, economics.
But I want to say something to you, Hampton. Like every single child in America has access to education.
Not the same levels of quality, not the same quality. It really depends on your zip code and who your parents
now you're talking about quality, like
it really depends on your parents more than anything.
Wait a second. Wait just 1 second. You started off with education and then you moved the goalpost to quality of education.
How is that? That's the same thing. It's not the goalpost.
Just 1 second, let me land. Wait a second, let me land. You started off with access to education. Every single child in the United States of America has access to education.
Not high quality education.
Wait just 1 second. And it doesn't matter where you come from. You can excel. Look at JD Vance. He started off in a fucking trailer park, wherever the fuck it was, with a drug addict, alcoholic mother. And he went to
it's impossible. It just makes it harder. Not everybody makes it. That's why it's success stories. That means it's out of the ordinary. That's why people get movies made after them. Because it's out of the ordinary. Not everybody can be a Ben Carson. Not everybody can be a TD.
Not everybody can be straight, right, Hampton?
Most people are. 95% of them are. So.
No. It's just like.
So you're extraordinary.
It's a victim.
Exactly.
This mentality doesn't help you because J.D. Vance statistically should have been a drug addict son, statistically, when he comes from the upper
exactly, and he didn't, and that's why he's
he should have been, but his grandmother was there for him. It's the same way that Barack Obama's grandmother was there for him, and he became president of the United States.
And without those people,
but no. All I'm trying to say is that
can you finish talking, and you guys can actually not interrupt each other? Let me finish talking. It's annoying to listen to.
Let me just land, please. Like statistically, you can start off shit in life. I was born in a fucking war zone. and I have a degree, I have my own house, I pay my bills and everything. Statistically, I should have died in the fucking desert, you know? And I don't go and bitch and complain and do whatever the fuck I do. You know, I do what I need to do every single day, and I work hard to feed myself, feed my family, send money back home. Statistically, I should have died in the Sudan. So I don't believe this crap when you're born in America, the most freest, best country in the whole fucking planet, and you are telling me that you don't have access to education. You're born American. You're an American. You like won the lottery in life.
He's a black American.
That kind of like proves my
You
point.
won
The
the lottery in
lottery
lifetime,
in
but
life.
you were born in
The
America.
lottery in life.
Yes, being born in
You guys
America is like
have
the biggest
to
fucking lottery. What the hell are you talking about? Bro,
The fact that I live here, the fact that we all live
Bro,
here,
you
is
were
still
born in
not something
America.
that we are
If you
incredibly
fail in
fortunate.
America,
Exactly.
you can't win anywhere else in the whole world.
Okay, no one's talking about failure, but the thing is, we are incredibly fortunate to live here. We could live in
But you're born in America. Like,
Botswana.
if you Hampton, let me tell you
So
something,
just,
bro. If you fail in America, you will never win
we're
anywhere
talking
in life.
about two different things.
No, we're not. I'm telling you,
Yeah,
you're
you are.
born in America. You're an American.
Yes, Hampton is agreeing with you.
You're not
Actually.
denying that, so you're agreeing. Okay, Hampton, what
Yeah,
education are you
that's what-
referring to?
If I take a journey through your life, I'm sure there's a whole lot of people who help you get to where you are. You didn't walk to the, okay, that's not individualism. That's a lot of people. It takes a lot of people to help people talk shit.
It takes a tribe.
Yeah.
So in America,
or is it takes a village? I think it
right.
takes a
So
village.
if you had a lot of help, if you just was one of the fortunate one whose family wasn't fucked up by whatever, who was able to be in position to help your ass after you were born.
But they
listen, I don't care.
What family wasn't fucked up exactly?
Listen, there's a lot of family that was. My point. It's all relative fucked up. There's relative.
Leroy, let's look at successful people and see if they come from perfect families or messed up families.
I'm successful.
Oh, don't get me started on Elon Musk.
And it worked. Hampton, what level of education are you referring to? Your college level, kindergarten, middle school? Like, where are we talking?
Yeah.
I'm talking. Oh my God. I'm talking ideally. Okay, when we have mandatory education, K through 12. Okay, and when I'm zooming out, I'm being so vague. And when we talk about quality of education, go to an upper middle class white neighborhood in suburbia. And that's the level of education I want everyone to basically have access
So we're
to.
talking about K through 12.
Correct.
Okay. K through 12 education in America could use a major facelift. Now, how do you propose doing that? How are we going to get everyone to get access to great education?
Stop
preaching
funding
the message.
Oh my God! Stop funding your schools through property taxes, and just fund it through. It should be all equal. The funding shouldn't. There should be no differentiation between zip codes. I'm sorry.
Oh no, hell no.
Wait, so how?
What do you mean? Some zip codes have more to lose than others.
Yeah, that's like saying like, oh, even if you pay for better health.
How are we funding it the same way we fund everything else?
So, Hampton, can I jump in?
You're taking out the
You don't like the new voice.
You're taking out the incentive.
So how do you want to fund it? You want to fund it through federal government?
Let the
Federal
lady
government?
Yes.
All right, can
Okay,
I
so-
jump in? Fine.
Well, if you want to
Jump
do.
in 1 second. I'm just going to point out that Common Core was a total failure. The healthcare taken over by the mental health taken over by JFK's federal government was a total failure. We have more homeless than we ever did before, more mental health problems than we ever did before. The federal government taking over is not the solution.
Okay, let me reverse that.
I think a solution is terrible.
It could go to the state's level, but as long as it's equally funded, that's when it's equally funded, regardless if it's funded by the federal or the state.
Hampton, the issue.
Yes, the government,
The issue is lack of incentive. And I think
I'm sorry, I pushed off on one.
Andre, let Hamlet cook for
Let the lady cook.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All right, Hampton. Many states, I know Georgia is one of them, already have something called QBE. And basically what that is they take money off the top from the communities that are considered high income, high communities, and they take the surplus. I'm not exactly sure how this math, equation is, but anyway, they take the surplus and then they divide it. They put it towards the lower performing, lower income communities, towards the school system in particular. So there's already a sort of process to try to bridge this gap. So that is happening. I don't know how we replace the school, funding schools based upon property insurance. I'm not really sure what the mechanism is for that, what that looks like, but we are doing, this QBE to try to even it out.
Right, but we see other countries do this. This isn't a foreign concept.
The problem
Other
is funding
countries
is
are
not the
able to.
answer. You can throw money in a problem, doesn't solve it. You have to solve the fundamental problem. Why are the schools in the lower socioeconomical areas giving less education? It's not funding.
The teachers they don't have good teachers.
Right, okay, so let's break the teachers union, because that's a disaster. We can't
They don't
get
get
bad teachers, good start.
School, that's the difference. Some schools get poor resources, and some schools are in food deserts.
No, that's incorrect.
Oh my God, I know when I'm a teacher, I go
Overcrowded classrooms is another one.
I go into the school system. There's
Poor funding is the least of our problems.
Listen,
I want to say something to Leroy.
Because
You
all
know,
the
you
teachers
know,
in your country
Oh my
are
God.
dumb.
Leroy, before Jimmy Carter created the Department of Education, America was #1 in education. After he created it, I think right now America is number 25. So all your funding and all your bullshit has done nothing but made Americans' brains rot. That's why they bring people to
Bureaucracy. Talking about bureaucracy.
That's
Hey,
why we
guess
have
what,
teachers.
dude?
Wait a second, bro. This
You're
is why
talking
we
about
have
bureaucracy.
teachers. 1 second, bro. It's not bureaucracy. America was #1 before. Wait a second, bro. America was #1 in the whole world before the Department of Education. Right now, it's number 25. You know how that happened? Because you socialist, Marxist people chose ideology of education of America's children. That's why America imports intellectuals. This is it. America never had to import so many people from India. Look at the heads of these major companies that are from India and other countries. Get rid of the Department of Education, make America great again, and put the schooling back to the parents and back to the states. Get rid of this socialism crap that you're dealing with. The children in America, Elon Musk is doing that.
What is socialism? Because we don't have socialism. So what is it?
It's called California. What are you talking about?
What are you from everyone in accordance to their abilities to everyone according to their needs.
Okay, so where do we see that at being successful in America? I'll wait.
It's not what
you're talking about. What are you arguing?
Where is socialism success? You always say
it's not. That's the whole point. Are you calling
Social Security and Medicare? Social Security and Medicare is a successful socialist policy in America.
Social
That's
Security
very popular, by the way. That's very popular. Good luck taking it away.
Social
Good luck taking it
Security is going
away.
bankrupt.
Let's see if you can get a.
Social Security is it's actually really bad. It's failing.
Take it away then. Take it away and see.
No, it's not about taking it away. It's actually going to dry up. It's going to dry up.
Well, Simon, it can't truly dry up because the money has already been stolen. So that just means that our future generations are going to have to pay back a debt that they can't afford to pay back. So, you want to know where socialism is in America? The infrastructure bill that was also Orwellian named infrastructure has hundreds of the Green New Deal is not a thing, has hundreds of millions of dollars that are given to specific sectors of the society that didn't ask for it, including black farmers. I do not know of any black people saying we'd like to become farmers, that they decided to give money to black farmers. I don't know who's making money off that program, but that is socialism at its worst.
Hey, man, put the people at the back. Very important.
I think we need to draw a clear distinction between socialism in any state, first of all, and second of all, one of the key features of socialism is the control over the means of production. We do not witness this in the United States. It's a mixed system. So calling it socialism, saying that there is a socialist sector is just wrong on the face.
Right.
Even Sweden is not a socialist country. So we can talk about many state programs, sure, but those are safety nets that are part of the mechanism of capitalist society that makes certain
Andre, are you Swedish?
No, I would definitely disagree with that.
I disagree with that.
No,
Andre, didn't Sweden default of that debt in 1997? Why don't you talk about that?
Actually,
Wait,
I'm not saying it's a good system. I'm saying even if some people say, "Oh, look at the great Swedish system, it's socialist," it's not fucking socialist. First of all, second of all,
the country went bankrupt.
The country went bankrupt. America had to bail them out.
They used. Oh Jesus Christ! Shut up for a second. Just listen, so you don't misunderstand me. And the country lived off the profits that it made in the 60s, 70s. And as soon as they ran out, they needed to be bailed out. So whatever nanny state, yes, whatever nanny state they implemented there failed. Not a good system. Not a good system to model at.
No, bro, that's socialism. That's why we went bankrupt. You don't understand, do you?
That's not socialism. It's nanny state.
What's the difference between a nanny state and a socialist state?